Now to Daisy Suarez Giles and her husband Keith Giles, who are sadly one of the many who have lost their home in the fires. They join us live from their hotel room in Los Angeles. Good morning to you both. Thank you, Daisy, and thank you, Keith, for joining us this morning. We're so sorry to hear about your loss and everybody else there in California. Thank you for chatting to us this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about that Tuesday and when people started to leave?
Hi, thanks for having us here. Tuesday was is a night that I will never forget. You know, the smoke, the fire, the smell, the wind. It was very frightening. We actually just gotten back from holidays, so the whole day I was just, going on my life. Kids went to school, and I didn't know there was a fire. I actually found out because I received a text message from a friend. She texted me around 8 p.m. and I didn't see it until closer to 9. When I look out the window, then I saw the smoke and I saw the fire. Yep, those are the first time I look out the window and I saw that. And I realized right there that something was wrong. I told my husband this is not looking good. He was trying to keep me relaxed and keep us comfortable and not scared, not to panic. Everything is going to be okay. It's far out. I don't think it's going to come this way. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to take any chances. I think we should just prep a luggage and just be ready just in case we have to run out of here and go. And
I think that's one of the most frightening things is just how erratic the fire is, Daisy, when you say, you just don't know which way it's going to go. And you've got 2 little boys, Henry and Lucas, too. How old are your little boys and what did you decide to do? Did you decide to sleep in the car?
So what I decided to do was, they went to sleep. We had a power outage, so that's when I got more scared. I'm like, okay, this is like even getting worse. And I pack a luggage just to have it ready. They went to sleep because the little boys were tired. They were exhausted. They wanted to sleep. And I made it very clear that if everybody went to sleep, they needed to go to sleep ready. They needed to have clothes on just in case things got more worse. We would have to just run out of the house. My niece, she lived 2 blocks up the street, so her partner left the house at 10 p.m. He alerted us that there was no rooms available. So at that moment, I was like, okay, I see people, I was seeing a lot of cars driving down the hill. So I was telling my husband, a lot of people are leaving. So I think we should be ready to have an exit plan as well. And I was just more concerned that we were going to have to sleep in the car. So I had a lot of pillows and comforters ready in case we needed to sleep in the car.
And we're just looking at those, but Keith, we're just looking at those pictures there. It's just shocking seeing people trying to take their animals, those horses being saved. You've got your little dog in your lap there as well. And as a family, you were able to get away safely. I understand some of your neighbours decided to stay and try and protect their homes.
We've heard there are some, yes, a few people that have been found in their homes. Some made it, some didn't. So that's the risk you take when you want to try and protect your home, I guess. But we felt that keeping the family together was more important than trying to save the home.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about the community. How long have you been where you lived, and had you experienced any fires? Not on this scale, but in the past in that area, because it's the sort of thing that we've watched from afar over the years. It's never been quite as savage as this, though.
We've been there just about 4 years now, and we hadn't seen any fires in this area. I lived in an earlier lifetime. I lived a little further east of there, and I'd seen a few fires, but nothing anywhere close to this kind of scale.
And with regards to the rebuilding of the community and the rebuilding of your house, I mean, there's complication that we're understanding over here is a number of people had their fire insurance cancelled in the last couple of years because of the cost in these insurance companies or whatever. How are you feeling about the opportunity to sort of get back and try and get that community up and going again?
There's mixed feelings. I mean, we loved that community. It was a fabulous community, but there's really none of it left anymore. And, we're lucky we did not have our fire insurance canceled. What that's going to cover, though, we have no idea at this point. But do we really want to rebuild in an area that's going to have probably much sparser population, and the community is already so badly damaged. So it's mixed feelings.
Yeah. And it's about taking care of the pets and the boys. So where are Henry and Lucas now, and how are they processing this? Because it's so hard to explain, I think, to, especially to children who are so young.
Henry, he's a strong little boy, stronger than I even thought. When I cry, he said, "Mommy, why are you crying? They're gonna fix the house. The builders are gonna come and they're gonna fix it." And I mean, he said they're gonna fix it, and I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "The builders. They're gonna come and they're gonna fix it, right?" And he's very hopeful that we're gonna have our home back. Lucas, yesterday when my husband spoke to him, he called and he asked my husband if the house was ready, if they already fixed it. And it's just really it's very depressing for me, because everything that we do, everything that we have worked for is for our family, for our kids. That night I could not sleep. I stayed up even though they went to sleep. And like I said, at 1:30 in the morning, when I saw that fire, like 2 houses closer, it was just 2 houses behind the house in front of me. I woke them up and I said, "It's time to go. We gotta run and go. Like, we have to go." It was already getting bad. And it was just like it was just horrific, just trying to, leave and driving and seeing the fire. And we had to go up the hill to drive my other niece to pick up her car so they can leave. So it was just not a good picture, not a good memory. And my
Yeah.
kids they had to see that so they remember. And Lucas, one of the first thing that he did, Henry has been speaking a lot and telling everybody what happened. Lucas has not said anything. And one of the first thing that he did was in the car, in the vehicle that is burned, he started drawing a picture of the mountain with the fire.
Goodness me, it's so brutal on them. I think I'm right in saying that the boys have gone to stay with some family, haven't they? They're not with you there in California at the moment.
Yeah, they're in Florida with Daisy's family right now.
Lovely. Okay.
Great.
So they're with their family in a completely different part of the world, and hopefully having a whale of a time, a million miles away from the reality of what's faced. Well, look, thank you both for joining us this morning and sharing your story. Fingers crossed that community can get itself back on its feet as soon as possible. And it's as painless as it possibly can be, but we can't imagine what you're going through right now.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the space and the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're going to join by another family now who've also lost their home. Jeff Austin is live in LA alongside his daughters, 13-year-old Abigail and 10-year-old Madeline. Morning to all of you. Thank you, girls, and thank you, Jeff, for staying up to talk to us. I imagine, Jeff, hearing Daisy and Keith talk there sort of is pretty similar to what you and your family have been through. Just talk us through how it all unfolded for you.
Yeah, I mean, very similar in some ways. I follow a guy, a really remarkable guy, Edgar McGregor, online, and he's a local, lives in Altadena, and gives weather reports local to our neighborhood. And he'd been warning about these strong winds for, he gives us days advance notice. And he'd spent time in Eaton Canyon where the fire started, and he would video himself every single day picking up trash, and he warned us, if a fire starts, go. The wind was it was rough that morning, and so we actually left and went to a hotel when the girls got home from school. And so we were actually gone before the fire even started, because it was going to be 80-mile-per-hour wind, and we have a tree that hangs over our house, our bedroom, my wife and I's bedroom. And so we wanted a good night's sleep and thought we'd just be back in the morning. So we took off at a hotel early, and honestly, like, making decisions like that, it was having information like what Edgar passed us and what he passed to so many members of our community. I think he saved lives. I mean, it's just a lot of people got out, and it reduced traffic, and it helped, clear the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we were out pretty early, and then we went to bed that night when the fire was moving the opposite direction. And then I woke up and it had completely just gone crazy. And from about 4:30 on, when I was awake, it was just trying to find information and find out what happened. And then and then we got a picture from a friend who's a highway patrol officer, and he, he had to break the bad news, but in many ways, like just knowing felt a little better.
So when you say you got a
You're not
picture,
wondering.
sorry, Jeff, a friend who was a highway patrolman took a picture of what was left of your home. That's what you're saying, and there wasn't anything.
Yeah, he was driving. He was working up he lives in the community as well, and I had texted him and I just said, if you're up there and you can give us something, it would be amazing. And so from the car window picture is what he sent me, and that picture is how I that's how I first found out. So the other pictures, I know I have a neighbor who went up and took other pictures for us. So yeah, it was very helpful to know, but just devastating.
Yeah. And have you been back to where your house was yet, Jeff? Or what are the practical implications of what happens next? Because I imagine there's so much to do, and it must be incredibly overwhelming, because you've obviously feel so emotional, but at the same time, you've got to be practical too.
Yeah, it's sort of like I haven't really had a chance to like kind of grieve the whole thing yet, because I mean, there's thousands of us just in Altadena alone that are now looking for temporary and long-term housing, for those of us staying in the area. And so my wife and I are just, I mean, I feel like I have a third job now, just finding a place to live, dealing with insurance, replacing an entire life of things, and there's a lot of those comments like, well, things are just things, and it's true, but there's just your home and the things you have kind of tell your story, and so they can be a little more than things to I know they are to me. So it is really very much just I'm working all day, and luckily the girls have had friends that take them in during the day, and they they get to kind of escape it, and I really appreciate our community, our friends for giving us that chance.
Maybe I can just ask Abigail and Madeline how they're getting on. Abigail, what's it been like these last few days for you and your family and your friends as well?
Yeah, I'm like just truly so grateful for just being able to kind of be surrounded by that kind of community, and the amount of donations that we have received, and just being able to just be around friends and having that comfort is just so amazing. It's it's tough, but it's also knowing that this community can be so beautiful coming together. It's just it definitely is.
Was it scary, Abigail?
It definitely was. I'd never been through a windstorm this powerful yet. And then knowing that our home is gone, it's just kind of I don't know, you're kind of in denial at first, and it is scary to know there's so many people who have lost their houses and stuff. And yeah, so it is scary, but being surrounded by that kind of community, it makes it a little less scary.
And Madeline, I know that your dad got you all to pack some stuff before you left. What were the things that you took that you're very glad that you were able to pack and save?
A pair of shoes, obviously. One of my stuffed animals.
Your Squishmallow.
Yeah.
Your
My
Squishmallow.
sweatpants, probably. And I don't know, everything that counts.
Yeah.
I just was expecting to come home that night. I mean, the next night.
Yeah.
And
It just
didn't.
wasn't to be, sadly, was it? But as you say, and as you've just brilliantly articulated, Abigail, having that community around you that's looking after you and putting an arm around you that you can share what you've been through is going to be hugely important going forward. Jeff, thank you for joining us this morning. Girls, thank you for joining us. I know your mum's very emotional as well, so big hugs to her. And we wish you all the best for the future. Fingers
we
crossed.
greatly appreciate just having the chance to talk about our community. And Altadena is a great place. It's a magical place. We'll come back. We're going to be rebuilt and alongside of so many other people. And it's going to be a long journey. And I I promised them I would say like it would be very helpful for me if Liverpool could help win that league this year. So
Oh, Jeff.
I told him I wouldn't wear my hat, but
I tell you what, there's always an opportunity to talk about your favourite football team, no matter what the situation.
There always is.
But you know what, though, in moments like this, when you're looking for any sort of hope to cling on to, they're really, really important, whether it's for the girls, whether it's for you, whether it's for your family, your community. So fingers crossed you can rebuild as soon as possible and you get all the support that you need going forward as well. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
my one message to Altadinans though is Altadena is not for sale. Like we're rebuilding Altadena how it's supposed to be, and we're not gonna let it become something else. So thank you all so much for letting us tell our story.
Thank you.
Not
Thank
at all.
you.
Lovely to
Thank
meet you all.
guys.
What an extraordinary couple of families they are.
It's amazing, isn't it, how the worst of times can also bring out the best things in human beings and communities.
Well, you've got friends. You lived out there. You know, I was speaking to some friends yesterday. I was speaking to one of my really good friends, Darren, and his wife's parents' house is still really vulnerable out there in California. They've got a family living with them. They're a bit further down the coast that have lost their home already.
Yeah.
So everybody somewhere will have a connection with some family that has been through what those two families have just articulated.
And what Jeff said is absolutely true. It's all about everybody taking care of each other and really having that real sense of community and pulling together. Yeah.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Very brave to stick your head above the parapet. Why are you here?
Well, just basically to make sure that what I've said in the papers isn't actually what I've said.
Okay.
Sorry, that was wrong. Oh.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
So you reckon that you've been what's been said in the papers
things
is
in the
inaccurate?
papers is very inaccurate. Yes, I've not said anything.
All right. Well, let's clarify a few of those bits today. So this is August 31st.
Yes.
So you drove to your friend's house.
Yes.
You parked your car outside. This is the car in question.
Yeah.
You went from there to a bar, had a couple of drinks, a few Prosecco's, and then after that you went to this nightclub in Wilmstone. This is Symposium nightclub.
Yes.
And there's a big group of you, and Wayne Rooney is in a group nearby you. Did you know who he was?
Well, I obviously knew who it was. Yeah, we wasn't interacting. It was just more drinks we had. We kind of overflowed to a different part of the bar and then ended up in the same in the same area.
Because there's been reports that have, obviously you've been at the centre of this media storm, and there's been lots of reports that actually this is you've got previous on this, and this is what you do. That you go
do laps.
You do laps of clubs looking for footballers, and so is that? What would you say to that? Is that not true?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who's writing all this, but
have you ever been out with a footballer before? Have you ever met a footballer in a club before?
Yeah.
So you have been out with footballers before?
Yeah, just...
Do you think that's where they got their previous...
I think maybe they've done a bit of digging, but other than that, there's nothing... It's not something that I do.
So have you... So I mean, that is obviously something that's, for us to hear now, is quite an important part of the story, is the fact that you have in the past dated footballers. So when it comes to that particular night in question, I've got to ask you, did you have your eye on him?
No, not at all.
Why?
Why? I wasn't aware of anything that in the surroundings, really. It wasn't anything in question. It was just we just fell into talking to each other in the company that we was in, and that was the top and bottom of it.
And so that's fair enough. Okay, I mean, you're a group of mates. He's got a group of his mates. You've got your mates. You're all in a club. You're all chatting. Oh, it's Wayne Rooney. That's fine. You're quite obviously attracted to footballers, as you've said. Is that not true?
Well, no, that's not true. I'm not just attracted to footballers. I think that's just kind of something that's been portrayed purely because of who he is and how the media's lit it up.
But you've been out with footballers before?
Previously, but not solely footballers.
OK. So you then decide, and this is the bit, I think, where, you know, it begins to roll slightly out of control from, you know, from their marriage point of view, is the fact that you end up in the car together.
OK, yeah.
So you've left your car at your mate's house.
Yeah.
And so how come you ended up in the car together? Whose idea was that? What was the conversation?
Basically, we just got a cab, and then because it's a bit of a whirlwind, really. There was no conversation. We just ended up at my car from getting out of the cab, and then obviously.
But it does take it to that next stage, doesn't it? It's not just chatting mates, or, you know, he's not looking for a new friend. You're probably not looking for a new friend. It's you're you're in a car together with a man
Yeah.
that's married. I mean, my thing would be, as a female, as a you know, sisterhood, I wouldn't get in a car with a married man.
But then I was a couple of drinks down.
Even
and-
then, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but then at the end of it, that wasn't discussed as what was going to happen. So in my eyes, I've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, but you got in a cab with a married man. You got in a car with a married man.
But if I got in the car with you, I don't think I'd be all over the newspapers.
Yeah, I think you probably bloody would.
No, I mean, like...
My wife would be all over you, that's
I
for
didn't mean
sure.
that. I mean, kind of, if it was just a general person, I don't think it would be as portrayed as this.
But it's still question. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
which way I'm coming from. I
It
don't
would be
think
in the
that-
newspapers as Philip Schofield
I didn't
is
mean-
in a car with a woman who is not his wife, having just picked her up in a club.
Just tripped myself up there. I meant any general married man. If it wasn't anybody else, it wouldn't be an
But
issue.
it would still be the same. It wouldn't be an issue publicly, but morally, it would still be the same issue.
No, because it's been blown out of proportion. What was about to happen, well, apparently going to happen.
Well, you said I think he was unsure of what we were doing as I was. What were you doing?
Driving down the road.
If the incident, which we can't talk about, hadn't happened, you'd both continued in that car, what would have happened? Where were you going? What were you going to do?
Go home.
I think we spoke very briefly at the beginning of this about the reports in the newspaper, and it's hard to understand because they are reported as quoted directly from you, and you can explain this afterwards, where he kept admiring my clingy top and asking what size they were, saying, are they real? We had a kiss, a hug and some banter, harmless fun.
Never said that.
So where does this direct quote come from?
For one, I had a T-shirt on, a baggy T-shirt. For two, I've not kissed and I've not cuddled him. And if that would have happened, I think there would have been a lot more coverage of that because we was in a bar. So then words haven't come out of my mouth, and that's being dealt with.
But you spoke to the paper after this happened?
After I'd spoken to Colleen, I'd spoken to the newspaper because there was a story that had been run, and that's when I'd spoken to her. Okay. Before I'd spoken to just to try and clear my name, but obviously with all the stories out there,
and if that is true and you have been misquoted, then that's
been dealt with. Well, yeah, that's been dealt with.
So do you feel like you're something of a scapegoat here?
Well, yeah, because I just feel like I'm being thrown under the bus with all the quotes that are being kind of published. Anything I do say further is just adding fuel in a fire, really, because they're never going to get rid of those quotes.
No,
which are always the headlines. So
of course,
which is going to attract. Yeah.
Now then, 10:23. Our next guest is one of the country's most legendary hairdressers, from his high-profile salons to his successful line of products. He's also cut and styled the hair of countless Hollywood superstars during his extraordinary 50-year career.
In 1974, Trevor Sorby's famous hairstyle, the wedge, became the first hairstyle to ever be given a double-page spread in Vogue, cementing him as one of the world's best stylists. And in 2004, he was selected by the Queen to become the first hairdresser awarded with the prestigious MBE.
However, 5 years ago, Trevor received the life-changing news that he had bowel cancer. And last year, he was forced, sadly, to give up hairdressing due to the side effects from chemotherapy.
Despite multiple treatments and surgeries, Trevor joins us today alongside his wife, Carol, with the sad news that his cancer has spread. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Trevor, Carol, thank you for coming in. We've been reminiscing as we sit here.
We have.
Because Trevor and I worked together in the early 2000s, doing a makeover for the Rain show down in Bristol.
Yeah.
You travelled with Trevor.
Yeah, we travelled together,
90s.
went to Hong Kong. He was doing hair for a fashion show that we were all doing with Richard Branson. He was such a gentleman to us all back then that we actually all called him Sir Trevor of Sorby. And that was way before an MBE or anything else, because he was just such a lovely man to us.
It's an extraordinary career, Trevor, that you have had, that I imagine you've taken time to sort of look back a little bit and take in what you've achieved, because it wasn't necessarily what you were going to do in the first place to become a hairdresser, was it?
No, I wanted to be an artist, but I got bullied at school, and my dad was a barber, and he said, come in the salon, in the barber shop. And this is like factory workers, just short back and sides,
Yeah.
no styling or anything. And I found hairdressing easy. 3 months I was just cutting people's hair. I went from paint to hair, but both on a creative sort
Yes.
Yeah.
journey.
And you were prolific in the 70s. The wedge and the scrunch dry you created as well. That was your...
I mean, they're all things now that you kind of take for granted.
Yes.
There's all stuff that's so sort of normal. But back then, they were groundbreaking, Trevor.
Yeah, and at the time you don't know you were groundbreaking anything. You're just doing what you feel natural. I mean, how I invented scrunch drying was a bit of an accident, but I'm going to take, well, all the credit.
Yeah, right too.
Run with it.
I had this lady with long, thick, red, porous hair, and these were ladies at lunch and, you know, that type of atmosphere. And she wanted it dried with my hands, you know. And I said, look, can I speed this up a little bit? And she said, OK. And anyway, I just got handfuls of the hair and I just put the hairdryer in, held it, and then I just shook it out. And this hair just came out like a haystack. And I experimented on different types of hair, fine, thick, thin. And it worked every time. And it was an accident that
has
worked.
gone on
and
to be...
you know, every woman in the world at some point has scrunched their hair.
I have.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So look, well, you have achieved so much, Trevor, and I was so sad to hear of your diagnosis. But I know you've got this extraordinary outlook on life, and you've stayed very, very positive. But in terms of where you are with your health, can you just explain how things are right now?
Yeah. Well, I think Carol will probably take you through the process because my memory bank's not that great. It started...
Well, we got the news back in June that, you know, he only really had a few months, maybe 6 back then. So both were in a bit of denial at that point. And then you have the last scan, which was September, and that's when you realise there's no treatment is going to work. So,
it all started actually going to be a bit sort of blunt here, but I lost a lot of blood one night and I was unusually disturbed about that. Went to hospital, sent me to London, and they said, Mr. Sorby, you got bowel cancer. And I went, oh. And I had a little panic attack in the office and came out of there and I looked at Carol and she looked at me and we were both speechless. We were just walking down the road, you know, like, I didn't know what to say. Yeah. So I went and had a big gin and tonic. And that helped.
It did, I bet it did.
It loosened my tongue.
The medicinal power of gin.
Yeah. And then it spread to my liver. And there's a 6.5-hour operation. Then it came back to my liver, another 6.5-hour operation. And there's one, the big one that's still there now. It's too, the surgeon won't cut it out. It's too close to a major blood vessel. Right. So I said, by the way, I said, how big is the liver? He said, well, it's about that big. I said, how big's mine? He went, well, about that big. Because I have to cut right around it and everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, with me, I never wake up thinking, oh, poor me, I've got cancer, I feel sorry for myself. I know I've got it here, but I haven't got it here. And I go to work, well, up until 2 weeks ago, 2 days a week. And I go there because that's my medicine. That is my life, 60 years. I've worked passionately to achieve beyond my wildest dreams, actually. And when I go in, it's my staff. I've had them for up to 30 years. They're family. I'm just one of the team, but I won't accept. I had a nurse the other day come around to assess me. And I said, "Will I make Christmas?" She said, "I don't know, Trevor." I said, "I damn well will. I damn well will."
I think, Carol, you're so incredibly positive, Trevor. So it's incredible. I think it must be so incredibly hard for you as well.
Totally overwhelming on most days. But I get my strength through this man. He's guiding me through a good death.
Yes.
Lorraine touched on that on one of her programmes, living a good life, dying a good death. And up until then, I hadn't thought about that. But what we do every day now, we're thankful for the day that we have, that we wake up together, and it's all the simple things. Our little dog is pure medicine. We've got a wonderful family. We are supported by the whole Trevor Sorby family, which some of his staff members have worked for him 30 years, 25 years. There's more than 20 people that have worked for him up in those numbers that are family, and we're all being guided by Trevor.
And are you caring for you too? Because you have to be so strong as the person who takes care of your partner too. Are you caring for you as well?
At the beginning, when we first got the diagnosis as, you know, treatment's finished, we can't do any more, I really was struggling. I couldn't be as strong and as brave. I'm crying all the time. Wasn't safe to be out really, and I kept myself at home.
Yeah.
But Trevor and my son both encouraged me to go to counselling. I thought, well,
great idea, actually.
why? I've never been anxious, and I've actually started bereavement counselling, which I didn't know you could do before. And they're going to guide me through, hold my hand, and up until 2 years or however long it takes after the event. So I feel very supported, very lucky I have that support, but more so from Trevor than anyone.
Yeah.
Because he's incredible.
You're a team.
Yeah.
You're a team.
Trevor, it's a real treat for us to have you on today, for you to be so honest and share such devastating news, but equally for us to be able to touch base and celebrate what an extraordinary life. And there's a reason those people have worked for you for 25, 30 years, because you have such generosity of spirit. You're such a joyous person to be around. But there will be people watching at home today wondering, you know, if you could give them some advice about life and about how you're dealing with things or just anything, what you might say to them.
The brain rules the body. The heart plays a big part as well, but that is the engine room. And putting yourself... Because I've got a charity and I've helped many women through cancer, cutting wigs for them and doing all of that. People handle it in different ways. There is no one way, no right way, wrong way. It's however that person deals with it. If you get this right, because I believe the mind is stronger than any other, function. And it's easy for me to say, get that right. People say, well, how do you do that? Well, I don't know is the answer, but it's the way I'm made, I guess. But you can fight this. And doctors have even said, Trevor, you know, you're breaking medical science. You shouldn't be here right now. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere, mate. I'm squeezing it in. And, that, you know, the most important thing is, like, last night, we went out and just had a lovely dinner. Oh. You know, and then the other week, I said to Carol, should we be teenagers? And
you didn't get all smoochy, did you? Did you get a bit smoochy?
Always.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, back row. No, we went and saw a film, which was rubbish, actually. But then we went and had a pizza afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Just being young. And just
simple,
for sure. It's like you mentioning the dog. It's all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's all that.
Look, it's. I don't want this to end. I don't want the conversation to end, but I'd never want it to end, Trevor. It's been a real privilege to have you as a small part of my life and professional life as well, and to see the joy that you've brought to so many people, and your legacy and the charity, My New Hair that's still going on, and the people that you have helped and supported along the way, and your energy and your positivity and your light will continue to shine so strongly, Trevor. Thank you for coming in and being here. And Carol, thank you as well.
Thank you for having
You're
us.
a lovely team. You're a lovely team.
Still twinkling.
Yeah. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
But behind the scenes, Leslie Garrett has been quietly battling a rare form of cancer with surgery that came dangerously close to ending her singing career for good.
I'm delighted to say Leslie joins us now alongside her oncologist, Dr. James Wilson. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
All happy, all smiles, all well. Leslie.
Good to see you well. Good to see you well.
Thank you.
Gosh, what a journey, though, for you.
Should we start back? Because it's the word that nobody wants to hear. And I know that there's a history of cancer in your family. Take us back to the beginning with you and your story, because this all started after you came across a lump in your breast.
Yes. We do have cancer in our family. We have breast cancer in our family, and I was checking diligently, and I came across a lump. And I thought, right, go and get this checked out. And during the course of investigating that lump, which turned out to be absolutely nothing, we discovered another lump. It's called an incidentaloma because it was discovered while they were looking for something else. And it's one of the reasons the NHS is so challenged, because the technology is so wonderful, they keep finding things they weren't really looking for.
Right.
And we discovered that on my thymus gland, which sits about here, I'd grown a little friend for it. I had a thing called a thymoma, which is a very rare tumour, apparently, on the thymus gland. Now, the thymus gland isn't much use once you're an adult. I think I'm right, aren't I?
No, you're
it's more useful as a child for making T cells, apparently. And at the time, I had it tested, and it was benign, and it wasn't something that was a cause for worry. But then, a little while later, I noticed that my voice wasn't behaving properly.
And in what way?
Well, I was preparing a role for English National Opera. I was doing better because I'm still at it.
Rightly so.
Can't put a good Yorkshire woman down. And I was singing the Barber of Seville, and the preparation wasn't going as I'd hoped, and I was finding I couldn't reach the top notes that I used to reach, and it just wasn't working properly. So I went to my wonderful laryngologist, again at UCLH, my favourite place in the world. And John Rubin, who's known me for many years, said, no, your larynx looks perfect. There's nothing wrong. So I thought, well, I wonder if this thymoma that I had diagnosed the year before is starting to do something. Because it's such a rare cancer, nobody's quite, and that's why we want to raise awareness about it, nobody's quite sure how they work. So I went back and met, again, my wonderful doctor, David Patrini, who was Italian and loved opera, so that's a win-win.
There we go.
And he said that since I'd had it diagnosed originally, the thinking had changed, and now, rather than just watching and waiting, which is what I've been told we would do, the recommendation was to have it removed. And so that's what I was told I had to do, which was a little bit scary.
But a decision, I mean, you have to get it removed. It's a
well, you do. The thing about this thymoma is that where it's placed, which is just to the left of the middle of the chest, it's on just very close to the heart. There are lots of other nerves and muscles in that area that govern the larynx.
Right.
So there was every possibility in my mind, anyway, that if something was going on there, it would be affecting my singing.
I mean, and for a singer to hear those words, I mean, that is like taking a bullet, isn't it?
Well,
hearing that.
When they described the operation they were going to have to do to get rid of it, that was even more frightening because that involved a lot of cutting in that area.
So there are two forms of the operation. And welcome to the sofa, by the way.
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you, Rochelle.
First of all, thymus. I should probably know what it is. I'd never heard of it.
I'd never heard of it until today.
Yeah,
So-
it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? And I saw a nice picture that your team has put together to show people at home where it is. So it's something that, as Leslie says, it's something that during childhood, it's very important in the development of your immune system. But from puberty onwards, it just sort of disappears. So when you do a scan and you see something in that area just behind the breastbone, one of the things it could be is a thymoma, so it does need to get checked out.
And there's an interesting lesson here, isn't there, from Leslie, that sometimes you just have to keep going and keep asking questions and don't accept the diagnosis.
And listen to your body.
Wrong,
I mean, nobody's going to know her voice or her breathing better than Leslie Garrett. You know, somebody who's had so much control and development of that over the years. You'd have detected a change.
Yes, it was subtle, and you're right. Perhaps somebody who wasn't a singer wouldn't have noticed it. I did notice a change in my breathing. I couldn't last phrases. I couldn't phrase in the way I used to. And all of this made me think, you know, something's going on.
Yeah.
And UCLH were amazing. They took me totally seriously, immediately re-scanned me and said, yeah, we think this has got to come out.
And it is a lesson, like you say, Craig, that we say this a lot. It's so important for us to be in tune with our bodies and really listen to what's normal for you and know when those sort of signs start to appear. I want to talk about the operation itself, James, because this was a real, like, highly technical surgery.
Oh, hugely technical. And you know, when you've got a rare cancer like this, you need a team who does it all the time. You don't want somebody who does 1 or 2 of these a year. You want somebody who's doing 2 or 3 a week to be doing your operation. And Leslie's absolutely right. You know, even a decade ago, Leslie would have had a scar from here to here and opened up the whole breastbone and opened the chest to remove this thymoma. Whereas it was just a couple of incisions on the side of the chest and then a robot to remove the surgery with a surgeon on the other side of the room.
My robot. I got to meet my robot, the Da Vinci robot. Oh, this piece of kit. I've always been interested in science. I always did science at school. I would have done medicine, which is probably why I married a doctor, if I hadn't done singing. And I was allowed to actually be introduced to this fantastic thing. It had arms, it had a personality, it spoke to me. No, but seriously, my wonderful surgeon, Dr. Bakri, was sitting 20 yards away in a corner, facing a screen with his back to me. It was like he was doing some fantastic video game, you know. I was going, yeah, go on, get 100 points. But it was amazing. It had arms with little instruments on the ends. They made 2 little incisions here.
So you weren't awake for it. I know you wanted to be awake.
I would have loved to have been awake for it, but I got them to describe it in perfect detail. They had to depress this lung and keep this one inflated. My anaesthetist did an amazing job. He was a bit anxious, I can tell you. But they went in with one arm with scissors that cut round it, and then another arm with some tweezers that picked it up, and then they put it in a little bag, like Sainsbury's, and pulled it out. Take away tumour. I thought it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
One thing that really fascinates me about this story is that you have this surgery, we know how intricate it is, we know how technical the procedure was, but the very next day, I mean, this is just testament to you, isn't it? The very next day, you can sing.
Absolutely. It's testament to the fantastic care I received at UCLH, not just the surgical care, but the nursing care. I was so well looked after, as everybody is there. And, yeah, the next day, I sort of was in my bed with the sheet up going, because you have to just test it out and see if it's there. Sure. And I was home within 24 hours. And the next day, I gave it a little tryout, and it was there.
And on stage,
it was perfect.
Within months, back on stage?
Yes, within 3 months, I was doing a concert in the outdoors
there you are,
in Bristol. Yeah. That's me and Roger giving it large. This was Land of Hope and Glory.
James, just a quick message to folks at home, because any time we do a story like this, people get worried and they spot things in themselves. What would you say to folks at home?
The first thing to say is thymoma is exquisitely rare. That's why you need to have specialist centres that do this all the time. But we've touched on the most important message from today, isn't it? Listen to your body. And I remember the 2 Ps. So we all wake up with a dodgy back now and again, but if you've got a system that persists and progresses over time, you can't ignore it. You need to go and get it checked out.
Good advice.
Thank you. And so good to see you well and performing and doing what you do best. Thank you for coming in.
A ray of sunlight in the studio this morning, Leslie Garrett.
That's the energy we need.
Good on you, good on you. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Starting by discussing today's top news stories with Nick Ferrari and Vanessa.
Good morning to both of you. And we're also joined by journalist Clemmy Moody, who is at the centre of our first story. It's been 4 months since, tragically, singer Liam Payne from One Direction passed away. And now his girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, has opened up about the singer's battle with addiction and their relationship for the first time, describing him as the love of her life.
I think with addiction, you know, you never know when it's gonna come out. It's a really serious issue that I think is undervalued and underspoken about. When I left Argentina, we had such a great day and he was in such a good headspace and we were in such, great, we just full of love, and I never would have expected any of that to occur. If I could see into the future, I would have never, left Argentina, but, unfortunately, we did have our own separate lives. Like, this wasn't the first time we traveled separately together. We would, quite often here and there in the past. So I never would have thought this would have happened. I think one thing for me that was a really big reality that really sunk in, that he wasn't here when he was obviously in Argentina and I left. We just moved into a new house. That's when it finally, I remember just sitting on the couch with my mom, and that's when I just completely broke down, and that's when I think everything shattered for me, because that's when I realized I'm never gonna see him again. He's never gonna come into, we're never gonna be in a home again together. It was just, that's when it really did hit me. You never think that the worst possible thing can happen to, no matter what it is, whether it's a family member getting sick or just a car, it doesn't matter. You never ever think that's gonna happen, and it's just, I never would have thought that it would ever, have turned out the way it did.
Well, journalist Clemmy Moody, who secured that interview, joined us alongside Vanessa and Nick. Clemmy, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
It's been 4 months since, tragically, Liam passed away. This is the first time she's spoken on the record with anybody. She seems very composed and together in that part of the interview. I'm sure there's plenty more when she wasn't quite like that. What was she like?
She was shy. She was very image conscious, which I think is normal for someone who's 25 years old who has grown up on camera. That generation, that is their life. So I got the impression she was lovely. She was very sweet. She was very nervous. She didn't want to upset anyone or offend anyone, but at the same time, she was so scared to sort of get something wrong. And that was sad to see. And, grief does funny things to people. And, who knows what that poor girl is going through. She's lost the love of her life at such a young age. She had a life mapped out, and that's gone. So I think she didn't really know what she was thinking at times. It was a hard interview.
And, of course, huge focus because of who Liam was, the music he'd done, the band he'd been in. There's been focus on their relationship for the period of their relationship as well. And trying to navigate grief when there is so much focus on what's happened can't have been easy for her. What made her want to do the interview?
Yeah, her team approached me in December, actually, and said, she is thinking about doing this. Would you be interested? And I said, of course. For me, I think she wanted to pay tribute to Liam, to sort of share and revel in their love and their joy and their love story. And I think there were a lot of mistruths out there that she wanted to clarify. There's a lot of internet rumours, a lot of, unkind things being said, and she's got a right to sort of put those to bed and explain in her words what actually happened.
Do you think she regrets leaving, and how do you think she's coping?
Yeah, that was the hardest question. I said,
bet it was.
You've had a bit of people saying you left him, you abandoned him, and then...
Because, of course, they were together in Argentina,
and then
she flew back to America, and that's when tragically...
And 4 days later, he fell to his death. And she said, we were in such a great place, we were really happy. I had no indication that his mental health was wobbling. He was, addiction and mental health is it can go like that, can't it? And, when she left him, because she needed to look after their dog, she couldn't get a dog sitter, it was out of necessity. They hadn't had a row. And she said, of course, if I had some sort of, crystal ball, I would never in a million years have left. But I'm 25 years old, I'm not equipped to deal with everything. And I did what was right for our dog, and I left.
She talked about the fact that they were planning on getting married. They had a future together. They'd bought this house together. This is somebody that was planning for, from Liam's perspective, planning for a life with his new wife. I wonder how she's coping with the reality that that's, as she points out in the interview, he's never coming back to their home.
Yeah, that's when she got emotional, when she talked, little things that she said off the cuff. You could, that was real moments of reflection and sincerity, and that was was really heartbreaking. But yeah, she had a life mapped out. She met him when she just graduated from college in America. So she hadn't really started looking for work. And I think she just thought she was going to be a full-time influencer, travelling the world with her boyfriend, husband, they're going to have kids. And, you know, at 25, that's all gone. And, you know, it must be terrifying.
Clemmy, what were the moments during the interview where she got the most emotional?
When she talked about the dog, flying back to dog, when she reminisced about their favourite holiday in Lapland, she said it was a holiday we talked about every single day since. She said we didn't even see the Northern Lights, but we were acting like kids running around sledding all day, keeping hotel guests up at midnight, annoying everyone. And she got emotional then. I think 2 or 3 times she cried. Yeah, but it was when she was not thinking.
Yes.
That's when she got emotional.
She does seem very composed at times. It feels very well rehearsed at times and organised because she wants to make sure, as you say, she doesn't offend anyone or upset anybody, because there has been a fair bit of criticism on the internet, as there often is, and focus on her and on her relationship. I mean, how has she dealt with that? Because she's going through her own grief, and to have all of this being piled onto her as well. The
yeah, I can't imagine it. It's horrific. I mean, losing a partner and then being in the public eye, and I think anyone that's dated a One Directioner will tell you you're never going to win that battle. You're just not. So having to deal with trolling on top of, the death of the love of your life when you're just 25, it's awful. I can't imagine that.
Poor thing. Yeah. Poor girl, really.
Awful.
Awful.
And what about the future? Did she talk about how she sees the future?
Yeah, I asked, and she said, I just want to help people that've got addiction issues, and, if anyone's struggling, they can talk to me. And I said, what about your future? And she said, oh, it's too soon. But, I suspect influencing will be around for some time. She's got, I think, 2.5 million followers across all platforms. There will be opportunities, I'm sure, for her.
And what about, there's more in the interview coming on the website, I think, today?
Yeah, I've got a day 2 tomorrow, which she talks about, One Direction possible plans. She talks more, actually, about what you've just asked me about trolling and the One Direction fans and how difficult that was for her. But, yeah, we're running that tomorrow on the Sun Club.
It's an important subject, men's mental health,
huge.
Vanessa.
It's huge.
And the balance for this poor girl that is now living her life. She's an influencer. She shares her life on camera, digitally, and yet she's also going through this pain that could actually help a lot of people down the line as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've got to say that she's brave to have given an interview. It is quite soon after this terrible shock. I mean, she must be absolutely overwrought with recriminations about and feelings about what would have happened if she hadn't left and what would have happened if she had stayed. And just imagine the burden of that. On top of this absolute barrage of criticism from total strangers who don't know her and don't know anything at all about their real relationship and have no understanding of what happened. I mean, it's really, an invidious position for a 25-year-old or indeed anybody at all to be in when you're dealing with your own real grief and you've got this enormous amount of judgment and criticism going on. It's an awful lot for anybody to take. And
as you say, people are judging you when they don't know
Yes, they don't know you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she's trying to do it as healthily as possible as well, and going to therapy, as she says in the interview, and just trying to process it.
And, Nick, I think the other thing that's worth bearing in mind is we still don't really know what happened. I think 5 people have been charged over his death. There's an investigation into what's happening, and so she's trying to speak publicly without jeopardising that.
And legally, she can't say a lot of things.
Exactly. So legally, it's a complicated but very personal and emotional situation.
Absolutely right. Just a quick word of journalistic congratulations to Clemmy. That's a heck of a story, so congratulations to you. A great interview to get. Yes, as if there's not enough for this young woman to cope with, as Vanessa rightly points to, possibly even feelings of recrimination. We still don't actually know what caused that. So put yourself in the mind of that young woman now. She's lost him. She doesn't quite know it happens, and she's asking questions all the time. And to the point on social media, we're talking on a day when a senior police officer at Scotland Yard has said that the dangers of young people now, the images, the messages, the content they're picking up on social media is akin to the cancer scare of the 1950s when the government didn't do enough of the dangers of smoking. They're not doing enough of the dangers of online. And that shows that at times it's very, very difficult area for young people particularly to navigate.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing the rest of the interview.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
After releasing that footage, Claire is teaming up with Sir Ed Davey to demand systemic change. Good morning to both of you, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining. Claire, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for sharing that with us. Ed, we're going to start with you.
you become almost the unofficial sort of voice of carers, because it's been your whole life, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. My dad died when I was 4, so my mum became terminally ill with cancer. My brothers and I looked after her at home, and that for 3 years she was really confined to the bed in a wheelchair, and there was full-on caring with painkillers and everything. And then my brothers and my nana looked after me afterwards, my grandparents. And then after my nana looked after me, I looked after her a bit and looked after making sure she got all the right things in a sheltered home and then in a care home, and brought her very close to me so I could visit her regularly. And then my wife and I had our lovely first child, John. Yeah. But he turned out to have a brain problem, which means he can't walk or talk and really struggles. And so he needs 24/7 care. Yeah. And I was getting up this morning.
So this is, I mean, so you know this world, you know this industry, you're emotionally invested in this. Let's talk a little bit about the Care Quality Commission. So they said the ratings are untrustworthy. Just to strip it right back, what exactly is the Care Quality Commission supposed to do? What are its powers? How does it regulate? How does it legislate?
Well, it doesn't look after the family carers like that I've done most of my life. It looks after the care homes and regulates them and goes and inspects them. But many of us have worried for some time that it's too much of a tick box exercise. It's not really getting to the heart of the challenges. Now, there's some really good care homes out there, let's be really clear, some really good carers. But sometimes when it doesn't go right, it doesn't get uncovered quickly, as in Claire's case with her mum, Anne. And I think it's about getting the Care Quality Commission in the right place, and hopefully the new head, Julian Hartley, will do that. But also, it's about making sure we improve the quality of carers to make sure that all of them are really good and we root out the bad apples.
So before we speak to Claire, what do you think, how does that change come about? And why has it got into the state it's in the first place?
Because we've never really valued care or carers. We don't treat family carers properly and don't give them support when they're struggling, and we don't value care workers. So we register nurses and we register midwives. We don't register care workers. You can go into a care home and look after a vulnerable person, someone with disabilities, an adult with learning disabilities, or an elderly person with dementia. And you don't have to have any qualifications, or you're not registered.
Seems crazy.
And that, I think that's wrong. And
it devalues the role.
It devalues, exactly. We don't pay them enough, by the way, and we don't accredit them enough, and we don't make sure it's a really well-qualified profession. And I think that undersells care workers. I think they're some of the most amazing people in our world, actually, doing an incredibly tough job. And I think, I'm a hands-on carer at home, and I go into care homes in my constituency, and I see how tough it is. And, you're dealing with lots of stuff, and you're dealing with very personal matters, right? Yeah. You need to have human touch as well. So, I got my son this morning, just after 6, and the first thing I do with him is I have a conversation with him. Aww. And although he can't talk very much, and I'm trying to get him talking, so he has, for example, this sort of homemade fluffy toy, which is a head of a cow called Mooey, surprisingly enough. Mooey. And one of the conversations I have every morning with him is about Mooey. And I ask him what Mooey's been doing, and he says that he's been eating green grass, and I get him to say those G's, green grass. Yeah. And then I say, I hope you don't mind, I say, well, he's probably farting a lot. Yeah. And John's a 17-year-old boy, and he thinks that's funny. And then, we have a little... It just warms him up, and it's that relationship. And I think when you're caring, obviously for a loved one, he's obviously my son. Yeah. But if you're caring for anyone, you need to have that personal touch, and you need to have that friendly banter. And then you can do all the difficult stuff, because real caring actually is a privilege. The relationship I had with my mum was fantastic, and I value the time I had with her, as well as, being very honest, there's some pretty tough parts of the world. Of course.
Well, let's turn this conversation to you, Claire, and your experience of the care system. Obviously, when we've got to put a loved one into the care, it's a massive decision. And I know you've been a carer for 27 years, so you know the system. Your brother researched it. You didn't take this lightly, did you?
No.
It was a very tough decision. Tell us about that decision and the process of that.
We decided to look at care homes. Mum was struggling at home. It was fairly unsafe for her to be at home, even though our stepfather was great. He was struggling. So we thought we'd just have a look at care homes, and I tried to use my experience to
find somewhere that was going to give her everything that she needed. I wasn't worried about all the bells and whistles that came with it, you know, how you get in care homes now. It was the quality of care. So I
Yeah.
did all the research. I looked at CQC reports. I got my brother to ask certain questions when he viewed the home that you wouldn't normally ask, but just to get an idea, and that's how we chose the home that we did.
So you took your time, you found the right home, she went in, and at first you thought everything was great.
Yeah. Fantastic. I thought, great, lovely home, seemed to give everything we wanted, and it deteriorated, so...
So tell us about that deterioration and at the point of where you thought, actually, something's not quite right here. What was the first moment?
The first moment we chose, or we realised that there was something really not right, was when my brother found a male carer in her room on the floor, and our mum was absolutely terrified.
What, he was sitting on the floor?
Yeah, and he's left the room fairly quickly. So, but we'd already had problems, which we'd gone to the authorities for. We'd gone to the council, and a safeguarding investigation was put in. And this was just the icing on the cake. We weren't getting any honest answers from the home. They were hiding, denying and lying about things, and...
It's kind of like a gut feeling, isn't it? That you
just
feel
knew.
inside that something's not right.
Yeah, we just knew there was
That eats you up as well, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
so you must that's taking up every single moment of your day, isn't it? Not knowing, feeling just that gut that your mum's got to say. So is that what prompted you to put the camera in?
Yes, and it was COVID times, so...
It's almost like a military operation. Well done, you, for doing that. So so you're able to just you put it in a bookshelf or something?
It looked like an alarm clock. My brother's really good with stuff like that, so he installed it, and it looked and worked as an alarm clock.
I mean, the terrifying footage you're getting back from that, you must have... What did you do after that, then?
Because we couldn't get onto their Wi-Fi network, we had to have SD cards, so my brother would go in, get the footage, upload it, so I could view it.
But it's hours of footage, isn't it?
24 hours a day.
It takes a long time to view the footage.
Yeah.
And how long did it take before you noticed something untoward?
Mum was actually out of the care home because they'd locked down with COVID, and we'd been searching for somewhere else to take her, and even down to a Premier Inn, and I'd look after her there. But we got her out and settled her, and then I continued looking at the last lot of footage while I was caring for my mum, and that's when I discovered everything that was going on.
It must have been absolutely heartbreaking. I can't imagine seeing that being happening to my mum.
Yeah. It broke my heart, and I will never forget it.
How common is this in care homes? Because I know there was some footage of kind carers as well. There was loads of footage of kind carers who did lovely things as well. But how common is this in care homes?
I don't think we know, is the truth. Which is why we need to get the Care Quality Commission doing its job better. But also, Claire's idea with Anne's Law, named after her mum, to have a registration of carers, so it can just improve the overall quality and make sure people have that, not only not abusing the people they're looking after, because that's the baseline, right? You're not abusing, but actually giving really quality care that you would give to your loved one. You know, I worry about this a lot because, you know, I'm an old dad, my son's 17, I'm not going to be on this planet all the time, so who's going to look after him? And no one's going to hold him and look after him like my wife and I do. But I'm assuming he'll be in a care home for quite a bit of his time as someone with learning disabilities and through to his old age. Yeah. And I won't be there to go and monitor them. Yeah. And I have to say, it's my room 101. I worry about it the whole time. And so I couldn't be more committed to improving quality of care for the whole of our country and for the millions of others who are like me, who have their loved ones in a care home.
What exactly would Anne's Law do? What would you want it to do?
Well, there's a number of parts of it in there. I mean, you probably talked about it. It was your idea, but I think the key one is the registration.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I think having a registration is important, and it also recognises the good carers and makes them, you know, are looked at as professional, not just unprofessional. But also having people working off the same page, so the police, have the relevant training and the understanding, and also that the providers themselves have accountability to what goes on in their homes is really important.
You did have footage that you took to the police. What was done in that situation?
Very little. The only person who received anything was the cleaner, who got a community resolution order. 2 resigned and 2 were sacked, and 1 member of staff was retrained.
Right.
I think Claire's been quite modest. She's been really not just brave and putting forward this idea, which, you know, I am and others are championing, but Claire, you've been a carer a lot of your life as well, working in care homes. So she does know what she's talking about.
Yeah, 27 years, isn't it?
It's not just your experience with your mum, it's your own personal experience. You know what needs to be done.
Yeah, I see it from both sides. So,
just going forward, this presumably is an issue that, you know, has cross-party support, I would sincerely hope. And it's far too important to be a political football. What big picture? How does this get sorted? Is it the join up between the getting rid of the disconnect between the NHS and care homes, and you know, where do you start with this?
It's a huge agenda.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think valuing the caring profession is the most important thing, whether it's Claire's idea of registration or paying them more. You know, we've argued that there should be a higher minimum wage for care workers. So you take the living wage and add £2 an hour extra, because, you know, I think as a society we should value the job of carers and what they do when they're giving themselves to look after our loved ones. We should value that more. Yeah. And that's going to cost money. Yes, of course it's going to cost some money, but that is part of how we take this forward.
Well, listen, a spokesperson for Reigate Grange Care Home did say the behaviour of the individuals involved in Mrs King's care 3 years ago was reprehensible. I can't say
That's
it.
right, but reprehensible. Yeah.
Yeah, OK, you just said it. And does not reflect our high standards. We have since implemented significant reforms to ensure that families and care providers alike are protected from the actions of rogue individuals.
Thank you so much for coming in, both of you. Thanks for sharing your story. I imagine, you know, there's countless people that are worried about their loved ones. And I think you probably, you know, what you're doing, pushing it forward, will hopefully abate that. And thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank
Best
you.
wishes and good luck for pushing it through. All right,
Cheers.
Thank you. If you're affected by anything we've discussed, you can head to the Free This Morning app. You can find help. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
It certainly does. And Lindsay joins us now as she releases her new book, Take Care. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely to see you. Really lovely to have you on the sofa. First of all, how are you doing? How are the kids doing? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. It has, it's been a tough few months for the whole family, but I think in true Rob's style, we just want to celebrate his life, and that's why I wanted to write the book, really, was celebration of Rob's life, and, you know, to really shine a light on the work that carers do. I think, you know, the book is called Take Care. Care is at the heart of the book, and really to kind of celebrate and recognise the work that carers do. So I feel really proud and honoured to be here today to share the book with you. And but yeah, the family's good, and they keep me going. The children keep me going. You know, there's never a dull moment in the Borough house.
Well, there's
as you can probably imagine, yes.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. I think that is one thing that you do absolutely take from the book, is just what an important job carers do. And it's amazing that you're ready at this time, because it hasn't been that long, really, to really kind of get that message out there.
Yeah, do you know, I think doing the book has really helped. I think in many ways it's been quite a therapeutic process going through the book and actually reflecting on, you know, because the book is a whole story. It's a story from kind of my childhood growing up. You know, both my dad and my grandparents were miners, so I grew up in kind of the miners' strike, and then obviously, you know, married life with Rob, having the family, insights into Rob's career, and then ultimately, you know, right up to the last days. So it's, you know, I hope the book will bring people hope and offer hope to people that are going through tough times or that have experienced loss. And, you know, ultimately that's what I wanted to do by sharing the story.
His career was so well followed. We were just talking.
Prolific.
It would be lovely for Jackson growing up, because he's the youngest, of course, because there's so much footage of his dad playing and achieving so many amazing moments. And so my understanding and the world of rugby's understanding is Rob as a professional rugby player. You, of course, knew him as a teenager. So you knew him before when these were just ideals. What was he like back then when you first met?
You know, Rob was just the kindest, most generous, loving person that you could meet. You know, at the heart of it, he was a family man. He would, you know, rush home from training to be with the kids, to take them to playgroup. He'd be the only dad in the group. You know, the rest of them were with mums, but Rob was there. You know, he idolised the children and he was such a family man. And I just feel so honoured to have been Rob's wife, you know.
Although you made it hard for him when he proposed to you, because that feels like he's gone to quite extreme lengths to do this. Explain, Lindsay, what happened on the day. And...
Oh, I was hoping he wasn't going to mention this, but now you have. Yeah, so we were in Euro Disney and we were in the Rainforest Cafe, and Robert got down. He'd asked me what my ring size was prior to going on the holiday, and then he got down on one knee and asked me if he would marry, and I said, get up, you know, just I was, shy, I was embarrassed, you know, so I thought I'd blew it then.
Because you didn't like the attention?
No, I didn't like the attention. But fortunately, he did pluck up the courage and propose the next day in the hotel room, which said yes.
By the way, as somebody who's had to do that in the past to someone else, it's a terrifying moment, even though Annie knew it was coming. If she'd turned around to me and said, get up, this is really embarrassing, I think I would have been distraught.
Oh, but it was... it's also that level of courage that he had when you found out about the diagnosis. And when you read it, actually, what really strikes you is the first words out of his mouth were kind of, I'm glad it's me, and it's not you, and it's not the kids. Do you remember, because I think when you were going in, you weren't expecting that, essentially.
No.
How shocking was that moment for you?
It was devastating, I think. You know, Robert had blood tests, he'd had MRI tests going in, and they'd all come back clear. So it was the nerve conduction studies that he'd had, and we thought at the time that he might have a condition called myasthenia gravis, which affects the speech muscles, but it's treatable.
Right.
So we were quite optimistic going into that consultation, and to be told, you know, you've got a year to 2 years to live, and, you know, my first thought was obviously for Rob, but then the children, you know, what are we going to tell the children? How are we going to tell the children? You know, the dad's got a life-limiting disease, and I think working in the NHS, I had an insight of that path and that journey that we were on, whereas Rob was very much, it will be okay, you know, as long as you're okay and the kids are okay, and that was just Rob, you know, that was just Rob took not, absolutely.
He always had such, I mean, even if you look at his career, he shouldn't have been a professional rugby league player. He was the sort of person that gave me hope that I could, because he sort of bucked the trend. He always had that ambition and that positivity. Where did that come from, Lindsay?
Do you know, I think he had adversity in his career. You know, he was constantly told he was too small, he was never going to make it as a rugby player. And I think that really in his battle with MND, you know, consented into that, because actually, you know, being told you've got a year or 2 years to live, Rob wasn't going to accept that. He wanted to spend every single moment with the children. He wanted to see the children grow up and see the milestones. And I think that positive mental imagery, you know, and, you know, I look back and I think, I don't know how he did it. You know, if I was in Rob's shoes, could I have been so positive and so brave and courageous? And, you know, Rob was a really private family man, so I think for him to open his doors and show the world, you know, the brutality of living with MND and how it affects not just the person but the whole family was a really brave and courageous thing to do.
It's so funny because there's so many moments that how do you do it moment in the book. Like one for me was your two girls getting up and having the strength to talk at the funeral, which do you describe as a celebration of life?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We wanted Rob's to be a celebration of life. I think he's achieved so much in his, you know, in his career and as a professional player. But yeah, it was so, I think the grace and the courage, you know, for the girls to stand up at the funeral and speak about the dad and what he meant to them was just, you know, I felt so proud. You know, at that moment. And I hope in years to come, you know, they look back and think, you know, I did my dad proud, because he would have been watching down on them, I'm sure.
And little Jackson on the day as well, you were impressed by his strength going around making sure everyone was okay?
Granddad. Yeah, he was looking after us all, you know, he was only 5 and such a young age. And, you know, as a parent, you worry about the children and, you know, what effect it's going to be. But I think, you know, Rob wanted us to be happy and, you know, we're determined to keep that promise and let's continue to make him happy.
There is an extraordinary bit in the book, Lindsay, where you talk about the fact that Rob says that if it was rugby that had given him MMD, he wouldn't have wanted not to have his rugby career. Yeah. Which I think will strike everybody in different ways. They'll take that as, they'll be quite surprised potentially because, you know, that it's the disease that's robbed you of your husband and the children, their father. How did you feel when he said that?
Really comforting, I think, because to know that Rob had achieved so much in his life, you know, he was in a good place. He'd travelled the world with rugby. He'd got brilliant friends, as we've seen with, you know, the friendship with Kevin Sinfield and just, you know, how that camaraderie and that rugby team had come together and the bond. And so I think, yeah, for me, that was really comforting, I think, to know that Rob had achieved so much in his life, you know, absolutely devastated that Rob's not here with us today. And but I think, it's so much to be proud of, and he leaves an incredible legacy behind. I think he's given so many people hope. He was the face of the M&D community for so many people, under the most difficult of circumstances.
You mentioned Kevin there, of course, his skipper, his best mate, and what a superman he is. I wonder if can you put into words the impact that Kevin's had on your lives and since Rob's diagnosis and since Rob's gone?
I think it's given people hope. I think, prior to, I think, the likes of, Rob and Kevin and what they've achieved, people didn't really know what M&D was. Yeah. But I think they've really shone a light on it, and people now know what it is. And, one thing that strikes me is people say, I don't have to explain what M&D is now, because people know about it, because of the awareness, because of the, the fundraising. The incredible £20 million that's been raised for M&D charities is just, phenomenal. And that will change people's lives and give people hope, which, ultimately that's what Rob wanted to do by sharing his story.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about his career and how sensational that was, but the legacy as well that he's left, behind too. £20 million. And what's the future looking like?
Yeah, so, each day, we take each day as it comes. Yeah. And, my priority is obviously the children and making sure that they're well looked after. But, I want to continue to do my little bit. So I'm running 2 marathons. I'm running the London Marathon in April.
Why is it always marathons?
I know. And then the Rob Borough Leeds Marathon. So 2 marathons in 2 weeks.
How's the training going?
OK, yeah. The training's the difficult part, fitting everything in. But,
yes.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge. And, I've set myself a goal and, fundraising for 2 amazing charities, the Leeds Hospital Charity Appeal for the M&D Care Centre and the Leeds Rugby Foundation. So
that's great. I love the foreword, actually, by Prince William as well. I just think, when he says we should all take care of each other and look out for each other, I think in these times, I think it's a really important thing to do, and I think your book will help so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, really well.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully once you finish the marathon, you take care of yourself for a few days.
Go for a massage.
And your feet and your legs. It's the stairs. That's what the problem is. Lindsay, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lindsay's book, Take Care, a memoir of love, family and never
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Joining us now is the woman who inspired this, the co-founder of the Little Princess Trust, Wendy Tarpley-Morris. Welcome to you. It's really, really lovely to meet you. You must have been over the moon when you saw these images going viral of this plaque with Harry Styles. Did you know about it beforehand?
No, we didn't. Yeah, of course, we were ecstatic when it happened, but a little while back, some of his management team contacted the charity and said that he'd expressed an interest in supporting us. And so we gave some information and some details to them, and it was just left that if anything were to happen, they would come back to us, and then on Friday it all happened. Yeah, it did.
I mean, everybody's talking about it now, but you've been working away for 10 years. A very personal reason, obviously, why you started this.
Yeah. Well, we founded the charity in memory of my daughter Hannah. Unfortunately, she passed away when she was 5 years old. But before she passed away, she had some chemotherapy treatment and obviously lost her hair. And it was just an area that we thought that there was very little importance placed on and very little help available. So after she passed away, with the help of her school and some friends, we bought a wig for somebody, and from there, the whole thing has just snowballed. We've now, I think the more we helped, the more people wanted to give to it. And we're now helping around
5,000 wigs opening.
Yeah, nearly approaching 5,000. We've 1,000 in the last year.
If somebody wants to do it, what do they have to do?
Well, if they want the help from us, they need to contact the charity, and the details are on our website, or they can probably get it from the hospital staff.
We'll link
but, but if people want to, well, after we set the charity up, people started sending us their hair. So we sort of found a way to use the hair that's sent to us, and now we really successfully make lovely wigs out of their donations. There is. There's the absolute minimum that we can use is 7 inches.
Right.
But anything over and above that is we are really appealing for. Ideally 12 inches or more. Right. But you know, if it's 7 inches, it can be used, but it loses a few inches in the knotting and the wig making process. So ideally, as long as
so
possible.
You want it to be clean and in a ponytail.
Clean, thoroughly dry in a ponytail.
And then the ponytail.
Or plait, ideally. Yeah, or several. Yeah.
Well done. What a wonderful.
Have you got Harry's hair yet? Has it arrived?
It hasn't arrived yet. There are sort of. There's plans in place, I think, to get it to us safely. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Thank you.
Amazing, incredible work.
Yeah, well done, you.
And the reason all of this is why we're doing this today.
All of that, though, Father Christmas and his elves might be busy in the North Pole making toys, but down in the South Pole, there's some people hard at work there too, aren't there?
Yeah, Port Lockroy is 9,000 miles away in Antarctica and is the world's most southern post office, affectionately known as the Penguin Post Office.
Oh, do you know what? This is one of my dreams to go to this place.
Yes.
It's one of the most remote places on the planet, and employees who work there endure freezing temperatures with no running water or flushing toilet. Actually, I don't want to go.
No, you can
change my mind.
You can pop on the ships as they go through.
Oh,
you can pop on there for a shower,
Oh,
apparently.
right, fair enough.
We can go live now to Antarctica to meet 3 of the people who work there. Let's chat to base leader Lou Hoskin, wildlife monitor Maggie Cole, and postmaster George Clark. Good morning, you guys.
Good
morning. Good morning. So tell us a little bit about what your jobs entail.
So we're all down here with the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust, and the main aim is to look after the buildings that are down here and showcase the human stories of Antarctica. But we also all have individual jobs within that. So I'm the base leader, Maggie is the wildlife monitor, and George is the postmaster.
So as the base leader, what do you have to do exactly?
Mostly a lot of emails, actually. So it's my job to sort of be the logistic lead for the team, making sure that we've got everything we need to be able to do our jobs properly and do our jobs well, and making sure that I organise the ship visits and, most importantly, our chance to have a shower.
Yeah. Well, that was very on my mind, if I'm honest with you. The fact that there's no running water. So, you know, washing must be a problem. Going to the toilet must be a problem. And how often do you actually get a shower with the ships? Are you, like, negotiating with the ships? What are you doing?
So everyone down here is really, really kind to us, and I think very keen to give us a shower because we smell of penguin. But it's usually every couple of days. We have a mix of ships visiting the post office and the museum, which is really, really lovely to give people the chance to look around and see the history that we have here. And then every now and again, we go on a ship. So that's usually every 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And Maggie, I was going to say, Maggie, you've got the best job. You're the person who has to monitor the little cute penguins. Oh, that's got to be the best job in the whole wide world.
I think so. I never thought I would say one of my jobs involved counting penguins, but here we are in Antarctica doing that. So yeah, what we do is we've got about 1,000 Gen 2 penguins on the island, so roughly 500 breeding pairs a year. And my job is to monitor them and how successful the breeding pattern is. So we look at the nests and their eggs, and we look at the chicks towards the end of the season. And once they've started crashing, they form little groups, and their parents go out to sea to get fish. So they stay together for protection, and we count the chicks once they're crashed as well. So it's just to see every year how the breeding is going, and this is part of a long-term study that's been going on since 1996. So yeah, it's a really great thing to be part of, and it's an incredible job.
Oh, and how are the penguins at the moment? Are they breeding? They're doing well at the moment?
They're doing amazing. So we had our first egg on the 18th of November, which was one of my co-mates Dale's birthdays, and also Polar Pride. So that was a really lovely event, and we're hoping to have our first chick by Christmas, but we'll see.
What a lovely Christmas present. George, you're the postmaster there. I know there's like 18,000 postcards that go through the office. What exactly does your job entail?
Yeah, that's right. So you have a post box here. So people buy their postcards, buy their stamps, and then pop them in the box. So we get all those together. We go through them, franking the stamps, bundle them up, bag them up and put them on ships ready to be distributed all over the world.
Wow. And did you have any prior experience of being a postmaster before?
None whatsoever. No, it's been a learning curve, so we're every day's a school day.
Yeah.
We're learning as we go.
And I'm guessing even being there is kind of a learning curve too, because you don't have any darkness at the moment, do you?
No, that's correct. Yeah, it's 24-hour sunlight at the moment, so which is great for the solar panels. Not so great for the sleeping patterns, but yeah, we're adapting.
Yeah, that's not good for your circadian rhythm at all. Do you have to stimulate nighttime then? What do you do when you want to go to sleep?
We draw the curtains at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, so we try and simulate nighttime as much as possible, which is great. And then when we come out of our bedroom in the morning, we are blinded by the light. So yeah.
Oh, it's lovely.
I mean, it is incredibly remote, but you do actually get to meet quite a few people, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We have cruise ships come by every kind of couple of days, and we have lots of visitors visiting us. We've got a museum here, so they get to learn all about the history of the place. And we also have our online. We have our shop on board sometimes, or we have people visit and we have a shop here. All the money goes towards the charity, so it's a really fantastic cause. We also have an online shop, so if you are looking to get your Christmas presents sorted, you're welcome to go and have a look at our online shop as well.
Oh, you're going to have such a lovely Christmas. Imagine waking up on Christmas Day seeing the penguins. Is there any way we could actually have a look outside right now and see if we can see any penguins?
Yeah, we can give it a go.
Oh, go on.
Here we go.
Oh, excited.
Come on, George, take us out there. Let's have a little
disappoint
look.
us. Don't disappoint. We want to see penguins. Let's have a look.
There we go. Can you see it?
Oh, it's beautiful. There they are. Oh,
So where's
love
the penguins?
this.
There we go.
Oh, look at them.
So we have to stay 5 metres away from the penguins, but you should be able to see some in the background.
Oh, what a lovely life you're living. What a lovely life. I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, it's so funny because they call it the little white voice that draws you back there. Do you feel that, George?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think I'm going to miss this place when we leave. So, yeah, we're all really fond of it.
Well, listen, Lou, Maggie and George, have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for introducing us to the penguins, and enjoy your time at the post office.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye, girls. Bye.
Bye.
Aw.
That was, I
want to
feel
go.
really
Do you want to
Christmassy
go?
now. Yes.
I really want to go there. That would be amazing.
It'd be
but I only want to go for a day.
So you don't have to do a shower.
I really want to go. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Well, we've been busy already today. We talked yesterday about Harry Styles having his hair chopped off for charity. He's donating his locks to the Little Princess Trust, the charity that provides wigs for children who suffer from hair loss due to cancer treatment or alopecia.
Well, we'll be meeting the founder of the trust a little bit later, and we're also doing our bit for charity today, lining up our volunteers to go for the chop. Very nervous they are today.
Look, sitting in a waiting room here.
I know. The chop.
We're calling this our live locks lop off, and we've got 4 brave people ready to go for the snip. So here to do the honours, we've got stylist Percy.
Hello, Percy.
Here. First in the hot seat is Emma. Emma, how are you feeling?
Nervous.
How long has it taken you to grow this?
I've always had long hair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So this will be a big change. Why are you doing it today, then?
Just 'cause I've got a lot of it, and if I can make it well for my wife or other children, then why not?
Well, it's a lovely thought. It's a lovely thought. I mean, Harry has really boosted this, hasn't he?
I know,
Big
it's
time,
incredible.
Big time. So the moment has arrived.
I know.
Percy, I'm so jealous you get to do this.
I know, it is
Good luck.
fun.
It's going. Do you want to feel it one last time? No. Okay.
Let's turn you a little bit so
lovely
we
hair
get a
as
good
well. Really
vision.
thick, gorgeous hair.
Yeah, it's going to take a second to cut through because it is thick hair. That's
Listen
a good
to that
thing.
noise.
Oh gosh, it's going.
Now,
It's
obviously,
going.
when you do this, it's really important to remember it needs to be dry hair.
Right.
Because otherwise it's quite difficult for the charity to use the hair.
It's going to be a big difference.
Also...
But listen, it's good. It's good. It's great.
It is.
It's good
It's
to have
fine.
a
It's
change
fine.
as
It'll go
well.
back.
It's taken him a while to saw through
It's
it.
really thick. It's really thick.
Look.
Oh my gosh, how does that feel?
Light.
Do you know what?
Really light.
Let's pass you this. I'll turn you back
Oh
round.
my goodness.
So you can do this in a few
that is
plaits
it.
if you've got shorter hair, just to
Yeah.
make sure they get the most amount of hair. But
But you
because
know
it's
what?
one
I know
leg,
you haven't even styled that, but it already looks good.
you're done.
You're going to put a proper style in this
Absolutely,
and make it all beautiful.
Yeah.
Well done, you, for being so brave. You all right?
Feeling all right over there?
Yeah.
Everyone else okay?
A little anxious.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
George has got almost as much to come off the front as he has off the back.
That's true.
But firstly, I want to say congratulations, massive congratulations to you with your amazing silver medal,
Thank you very much.
Must not be forgotten in all this.
Yeah, it's been a bit crazy trying to defend myself and stuff.
Yeah,
but
how much has that taken the shine off the fact that you are still a silver medalist?
do you know, it's more just on the night. You know, I've been through this whirlwind of competition. I got my medal, and we've gone to press conference, and everyone was, you know, so happy. And I get home and I start seeing all these kind of reactions on social media. And I just spent the first kind of hour and a half, 2 hours just trying to defend myself, when really, you know, I should be, you know, on the phone to my mum and, you know, and everyone and just enjoying it. I mean, at this point, when I realised, you know, I hadn't got the gold medal, you know, it's been like, I've been training over 20 years, over 2 decades, with the dream that I want to be at the Olympic Games and be Olympic champion. And my Olympic training has been 12 years, you know, from Beijing up until now. And to know you haven't got that gold medal at that time, you know, I needed a minute to let that sink in.
Yes, I think there'd be more likely something wrong with you, my friend, if you hadn't got those feelings and that you're so, oh, well, there you go, that's it, you know.
Yeah,
but I think what your problem here is you've got people who often know nothing about sport, who don't bother with sport except for every 4 years, and they want everything to be lovely and they want everybody to get a prize for everything they do, and that's my theory behind a lot of this.
Yeah, I just needed a moment.
So the thing is, after that moment, what happened? So we all saw you on the floor with your head in your hands.
So at this point, the competition's still going. There's still a couple more competitors to go. And in between the routines, the cameras come down and they film your reactions and stuff. And then the cameras went back to the Russian, who was still left to go on the pommel horse. And during this time, I kind of got myself up, went over to Max's coach, gave him a big hug. He hugged me, said, you know, amazing job. I said, congratulations. And then I saw Max, gave Max a big hug.
But none of this was caught on camera?
Yeah, because the cameras have gone back to the Russian now to film their routine. So, yeah, I said well done to Max. I said well done to some of the other guys that had finished I hadn't been to yet. And then I went back to my seat. And then, obviously, the Russian had finished and the cameras came back down. And it looked like I hadn't actually moved places. I just stayed there the whole time and just ignored Max, which was not the case.
Right. Well, a lot of people having their knickers in a twist about this. How are you about all of this? How are you feel? A lot of people very concerned. Are you concerned?
I'm not concerned in the slightest. You know, after 5-10 minutes had passed and I was able to digest everything and realise what had just happened. You know, I just won an Olympic silver medal, my 3rd Olympic Games, my 4th medal in my collection. You know, and it's been such a task to get to this one.
Yeah.
You know, the other 2 was relatively speaking,
Is that because
easier.
you took a year out?
Because I took a year out, because I'm no longer one of the best, and I'm having to really fight for my place on the team. A lot of people said...
Is that age, do you think, or is it because you took a year out?
I think obviously it didn't help taking a year out, but I was able to prove myself, and I proved, you know, that I was able to be on that team. But everyone's so good now in Britain. You know, it's hard to make that team.
But is that something, as an athlete, you have to accept? There are younger, fitter, stronger people coming up always behind every athlete.
Yeah, I've said this in interviews. It's fantastic for the sport. It's just hard for me.
Sure.
You know?
And when you get on the podium, how hard is that? When you get on the podium and there are a few tears there from you...
I mean, I held them back in the corridor when we were getting ready to march out. I felt it coming and I thought, you know, I'm all right with this. And then as I stood behind the podium about to step on, I pictured my mum watching at home with her friends, and I just got very emotional. And it's been such a job for me, for my mum, for my coach. So many doubters not thinking I could have done what I did, and it just came out. And you know, it was just a very proud moment.
Lewis, what about the next moment? Let me ask you about the next moment. You've got it all, but you haven't got gold. You've got Tokyo 4 years away. Is it worth the hassle? What are your thoughts?
It's always worth the hassle.
But you're ancient.
I am ancient.
27 now.
Hey, I haven't got any grey hairs yet, but they're coming.
So you'd be what, 31?
I'd be 31 in Tokyo, yeah. Training is tough. it's very repetitive, and you do have your days when it's like, you know, is it all worth it? But when you go to something like the Olympic Games and you represent your country and you're there with your friends, it makes it all worth it. So it's definitely worth the pain and the hard work. It's just whether my body can actually deal with what is necessary to be there.
The main thing is you haven't said to me, get out of it, I'm not doing that. You are seriously considering going again.
Oh, very, very seriously considering it, yeah.
More than seriously, because have you made your mind up?
If I sat here with a gold medal, it might be a different story, but no, I mean, it is the one medal I haven't got.
So you're going for gold?
Yeah, it'd be silly to say no. Yeah, I'd definitely be going for gold. And, you know, Tokyo is a fantastic place.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, I can be there, represent my country again.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel. What goes through your mind when you're waiting to do a dive? The two of you standing there, what do you talk about before? What's in your head? How do you focus?
We both have our individual routines, so we're both listening to music and like just warming up and stuff. And then we go to our coaches and they give us like a few comments about the dive or whatever we're about to do. And then we basically just go up there and do it. I literally just think about one word. That's how I always have done it at competition.
They're made in Chelsea style. Louise Thompson spent years on the covers of plenty of health magazines.
But everything changed in 2021 when the birth of her beautiful baby boy, Leo, took a devastating turn.
Yeah, Louise suffered a traumatic labour that triggered a chain of catastrophic health problems, including almost losing her life twice.
As she bravely opens up about her experience in her best-selling book, Lucky. Here it is. Louise is joining us now. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning. Lovely
me.
to have you here on the sofa. As I was reading this, I quite often within medicine and human beings, things go wrong. Obviously, we're just human beings, and you know, medical staff don't always get it right. But the catalogue of events that happened and the catalogue of things that went wrong to you, I don't know how you're sitting here describing it and how you write about it so eloquently.
Well, thank you. And I do feel very lucky to still be here.
Yeah.
Because there really was such a horrendous cascade of events, you know, taking it right back to the beginning. And as you say, I was one of the healthiest people I knew. I'd done the cover of Women's Health twice. It was my bread and butter, you know. I lived and breathed fitness. And I'd never really stepped foot into a hospital before. And then, yes, I gave birth to my son 3.5 years ago, and my world was literally turned upside down. I knew, you know, I think women know their bodies, and we have this intuition. And I really knew that the childbirth thing wasn't going to be a walk in the park for me. I have a very small body, my partner's very big, and I did have some anxiety around that. And I kept trying to advocate for myself, to speak up, to say, I really want to have a planned C-section. I'd been involved in a nasty house fire before giving birth about a month out. And I wasn't feeling well. Like, it's tough. Like, childbirth is incredibly tough as it is. And being pregnant is very tough for women. We go through a lot. And I just felt like I wasn't listened to, and I had to jump through a lot of hoops, and there wasn't a great, you know, level of continuity of care. And so I was just met with a lot of resistance. And then I kind of succumbed to my fate, and I ended up not being able to deliver my baby naturally, and I ended up in theatre. And I think one of the most horrendous things about this whole experience, which is what has left me with a lot of lasting damage that I talk a lot about in the book, with all of the PTSD and also suffering with, you know, horrendous anxiety that's sort of brought into that, and depression too, was having to witness 3.5 hours of surgery awake.
Yeah.
I just wish that I had been put to sleep.
Yeah.
Because sadly, you know, I've had to have subsequent emergency surgeries, and, you know, it was only a week after I was then discharged home following that surgery without much of an explanation as to what had happened. I mean, it's a lot to process. Anyway.
Yes, yes.
And then I had a massive obstetric hemorrhage 2 days later.
Which was the second one you'd actually had.
Yes. So in the original surgery, I lost 3.5 litres, and then in the second, I lost 5.5 litres, which is a lot. I mean, I probably only have about 5 litres of blood in my body, given my weight. And it just, you know, it's crazy how long it can take to actually process all of it. But the book, for me, has been a big part of of that. And there were times early on when I found myself, when I was finally discharged from hospital after spending a large chunk of time there, where I couldn't really function. I couldn't connect with my son. And I just didn't recognise my life. And writing for me was such a kind of cathartic process. And it was the only way I could communicate with people, really.
Yeah. The interesting thing hearing you talk about what you have been through, there's a sort of irony to the fact that the book's called Lucky. You know, because he sounds anything but lucky. And I love the story about why you've called it Lucky. And actually that you're starting to appreciate the value of where you are and that you have Leo now and your life is still going and what you've been through, that maybe you do feel a bit lucky finally.
I do. And, you know, I've spent a bunch of time in hospital and there are definitely people that are much less lucky than me. And I do feel really privileged to have come out the other side. You know, I have my working brain again. I can think straight. I've got an amazing relationship with my son. And so there are loads of hopeful messages in the book. I kind of go through the whole thing of I felt like I lost a lot of my old self, especially during those first couple of years throughout the recovery. And I've gradually been piecing the jigsaw back together, making sense of everything. And now, you know, it was, yes, someone that I mentioned in the book, this guy, when we finally managed to get away on holiday. And this guy said, I sort of was just making almost a joke of everything that happened to me. And he was like, wow, you're really lucky. And if anyone had said that to me even 6 months prior, I would have been actually quite upset. I was like, gosh, it completely reframed it in my head. You know, I live in this country, you know, I live close to a hospital and I've had access to some incredible care and met some incredible people along the way. And it's opened my eyes. You know, my perspective on life is very different now. Like, you know, it's not the way that you want to have to learn those lessons about life, but yeah.
But I guess you do very much start to seize the day and appreciate friends and appreciate family. And I know that Leo is just gorgeous, and I'm guessing how much you absolutely love him now that you've got the PTSD under control, because that was one of the biggest things. And what I found so sad about the book was you managed to cope with all the physical stuff, and then mentally that took over, and little Leo was this living, breathing incarnation of reminding you of these terrible things.
Exactly that. I mean, it was awful that he was re-traumatising me when I was at home and I was sort of in the same space as him, under the same roof. I just have memories now of... So a lot of it is a blur because your brain just tries to shut it out. But I have memories of just holding him and looking up, and as he was crying, and I would just look up at the sky and honestly, I would just pray. And I'd go, take all of this pain away, like this mental and physical torture. But yeah, the mental stuff was a lot worse than, you know, physical... You can often fix a physical problem. You can diagnose a physical problem a lot more easily, but it was the mental torture that was really hard to grapple with because you can't go in and get treated.
You can't fix it.
You can't fix it. So, you know, there are medications, and I did an awful lot of therapy, and I was considering going to a mother and baby unit and going to other facilities, but I think that would have just prolonged the recovery, because if I'd stepped away from my son, I might have got better on my own, like in my own kind of cold, dark, private cell, and then go back.
You've had great support from Ryan too, I think, as well.
I feel very, very grateful to have a partner.
Yeah.
We spoke to the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital because obviously you've been through this catalogue of things, and this is what they said: the health and well-being of those in our care is an absolute priority. It's right that we recognise when this care doesn't meet the standards that patients rightly expect, and we learn from it. Patient safety and the quality of care we provide are fundamental to our maternity service. Our thoughts and best wishes are with Louise and her family. We're committed to working with all our patients, and we'll continue to work with Louise on supporting her and providing appropriate resources and guidance. So one of the things that's hugely important, I'm sure, for you is being able to share your experience, share it with the hospital, and also in the hope that other mothers and parents won't go through what you've been through.
Absolutely. And, you know, after everything happened, they did do an investigation, and I did manage to have a birth debrief with them. It took me 2 years to be able to feel strong enough to do that. And we kind of spoke through some of the things that happened and where they could try to improve the care. And, you know, there are some amazing people that I have a relationship with, and I actually am still under their care because I have other problems I've suffered with an inflammatory bowel disease, so I have a close relationship with the gastroenterologists there. So I was there only last week, and the colorectal surgeons, and So it's sort of a stark reminder every time I go in, but also you have to have this, you know, this like blind faith in these people that are also only human as well. And I think the thing that I've learned as well is that it's not personal. That's the thing. It's not, you know, somebody. It's not me against anybody, you know? It's so trying to remove the emotion from it. I'm in a place now where I think, OK, how can I just get myself back to, I'm here, I'm at A. If I want to be at B, how do I get there?
Let's do it collaboratively.
Yeah,
one of the things you've been lucky enough is to have is a fantastic family around you. And your little brother. I know, as irritating as he can be, I'm sure, growing up, he has been a real... Look, there he goes. He's been a bit of a rock for you through this, hasn't he, Louise?
He has, and actually I'm so lucky that we do live next door to each other because...
That's wicked.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, I'd love to live next door to my brother.
Well, you think that, but it grows old real quick for Louise.
Yeah, we barricaded the wall up in between so there's no hopping over the fence anymore.
Knocking.
Yeah,
that as well.
And he's got a key. Actually, he breaks in through... Anyway.
I'm sure he does. How's your relationship changed, actually? Because there are so many great big events here that happen. I'm guessing the dynamic between the two of you has kind of changed as well a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, Louise it's funny because I've just been over there doing the bunny ears to Louise when she's introduced, but and that's really the only way I know how to sort of like handle stuff when it gets to that level. And but it changed a lot, I think. You know, Louise is the bravest person I know, and to have that as my sister is nuts. You know, I've never met anyone braver. I think like no one will ever know the full stuff that Louise went through, and
that's true.
I think it was I sort of welled up and actually cried a little bit where Louise had these little things dangling down from the ceiling in her house and little extracts from the book, and she was like, "Can you read the passage about you?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." And I read it, and she basically was like, "He's become my big brother."
Yeah,
he has.
The dynamic shifted, didn't it?
That was terrifying because it's like, oh no. But it's a weird thing when someone you love so much is in so much crisis and who you become in that moment and stuff. And Louise's partner Ryan is the absolute rock to everything. And I actually remember when you had the hemorrhage, I was at the ITV Palooza. And my mum called me and was like, "You need to get to the hospital now." And I actually snuck into the hospital, past all the guards and stuff, and just sat in a room with Ryan for like all night to find out whether Louise was going to survive. Like, it was nuts.
Well, because also, if you put yourself in that position, Ryan's there, he's got Louise on the operating table, he's got Leo somewhere else, and he's thinking that at some stage, and Leo wasn't very well when he was born either, so he's thinking he might go home from the hospital with nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you handle that moment with him?
It's a weird one because you lock in.
Yeah.
You really... I've never been so focused in my life, actually, when it gets that bad, you really sort of, like, steer into a completely different phase of your being. I've never really had it before, and I hope to never have it again, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you really lock in, you become laser focused. I wasn't that emotional, actually, to be fair. I was just literally just, like, so on it.
Yeah.
And I've never actually been like that before. And Ryan was the exact same.
Essentially, Louise, he can be grown up if he has to.
Now I know.
Yeah, we don't want to be like that. But you know, whenever...
But then you would come and visit me and you'd just lie on the window ledge and you'd go, "Oh, I'm so tired." And I'd be like, "Thanks, Sam."
Yeah, I'd go and moan.
Exactly, in the hurt to make you laugh even at that point.
Do you know what? I did feel like there was a time where Louise obviously was going through, you know, a lot in the hospital bed. I feel like sometimes she needs the Joker in there.
Yeah.
So I'd literally just open the door, like, "Hello, clown suit zipped up," and I'd sort of try and make her laugh a little bit, which was... everyone had a different role, I think, but just to have Louise sat here now is
it's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we're the luckiest family in the world just to have Louise still here. Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah, we're very incredibly lucky.
And it's smashing to see your relationship. And this book is, it's a tough read, and you actually even warn the reader at certain bits. This is what's coming up, and I'm about to be very honest. But it's a great read too. Well done.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for putting up with him.
Yeah.
I mean...
You had him a lot longer than we
You can't
have.
pick family, can you? That's the problem.
We get to send him home at the end of the day. And he can't get rid of it.
It's
You're next door.
Yeah, he seems pretty busy at the moment.
Great to see you
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. Yeah, all right. Good.
I was about to have a moment, but I'm right.
You're
Good.
amazing. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Well, Demi joins us now to talk more about her condition. She's also alongside gynaecologist Dr. Neetu. Good morning to you both. I mean, it's so brilliant that you were on the show and you were so vocal, so honest. Was that kind of your mission to begin with, or was it a happy accident that happened along the way?
I think a bit of both. I feel like I went into the experiment to like give myself to someone, and in that moment it was like, I need to share this part of who I am, but it's something I'm very uncomfortable with. So obviously I knew I had to like disclose it, and it was a lot for me to do, but the relief was so liberating afterwards to kind of get it out there, and I was received so beautifully, and it honestly has helped me massively, so I'm very happy about that.
It's really emotional watching you talk about it, because clearly it's not a subject that you have, until now, until you went on the show, felt comfortable talking about. You couldn't even say the word.
No, I couldn't. Like, honestly, to say the word endometriosis, which I can say now, I would just get really tearful and really upset about it, because it was something that really did take a hold of, you know, how I was in relationships, and it was something that I was worried about kind of disclosing and
So can you explain when it started and how it affected?
Oh, yeah. So when I first had my periods, I didn't know what a normal period was, right? I was quite heavy and stuff, and I just thought that was kind of normal. And then as you get older, you start to get into relationships. I always played football, and I started to notice that it was a lot more painful than what my friends were saying. I used to get like really numb legs and really severe back pain. But obviously that was kind of associated with playing football. Like I was in injury.
Yeah.
So I was just going back and forth like, what is this? Until it started to actually affect my relationships.
But also, and it's going to be quite graphic, and one of the things that really struck me, Demi, you played in this football team and you had white kit.
Oh, yeah.
And you used to have to sort of take precautions in case the heavy period sort of came through.
I'm talking like 5 pairs of knickers just because I was just worried. Like, can you imagine being a 15-year-old and leaking in a white kit? Like,
terrifying, but also to think that was normal.
Yeah.
That was sort of, you know, that's
what
the
you had to do.
frustration, because you kind of go and you hadn't been able to share what you were going through, to understand that there was a condition that you were experiencing.
Yeah. And this is no fault of anyone around me, because I just wasn't open about it. You know, I wasn't telling my mum I was doing that. I wasn't opening up to people. I just thought that was kind of like the norm that you do. You kind of mask it.
And when did you first realise that it wasn't, and how did you go about getting help or advice?
To be honest with you, I think it was when I got into a more serious relationships, and you know, you're more sexually active and so on, and the impact of that and how it made me feel afterwards and stuff. I was like, this can't be normal. So obviously I sought medical advice, a lot of back and forth, like misdiagnosis. Like I got told I had IBS, which is a common thing, I believe. Very common, yeah. So I was put on laxatives, and I was thinking like, why is it still so bad? Like, what is going on? To the point where I don't think I really got taken serious until I hit 25, because that's when you have your cervical, your smear test and so on. So yeah, they detected it when I hit 26. That's when I had the keyhole surgery.
And the diagnosis then was quite severe endometriosis. Had it been found earlier when you first started asking, it would have been a very different thing.
Yeah, and that's what obviously I was a bit upset about, because it's like I've been coming out for the last 7 years to try and figure out what's going on, to the point now I'm being told it's like moderate or like stage 3 and whatever.
Can I just...
yes, please.
Yeah. So generally, in my 40 years of experience with endometriosis, women don't tend to have minimal or mild endometriosis, then progresses to moderate or severe. It tends to be 2 separate categories.
Right.
So what is painful to hear, and not just Demi's story, millions of women, is that they're actually having these symptoms that can be helped, not necessarily whether it's mild or minimal endometriosis, which can still cause a lot of painful periods, heavy periods, or moderate or severe, which can affect it's a whole body condition. So I wouldn't worry so much about it not having been diagnosed for the sake of preventing it from progressing.
Right.
What is more important is all those years of suffering.
Right.
Because I was
unnecessary.
For sure, because there's the physicality
and
of
the
what is
emotional,
happening.
and the social aspects, all the aspects.
And mentally as well, to know that there's something wrong with you.
And you were told it's normal.
But you don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it's like, am I exaggerating? So I think the diagnosis for me helped validate my feelings, and then made me feel like it was a relief, to be honest with you. Like, okay, I feel heard, there is something, what's the next steps kind of thing. And I went away and tried to like find what worked for me. I think in that moment it would have been better if, you know, the options that were presented to me were presented with a little bit more information and a bit more direction. Because like I've heard that if you go on contraception and stuff like that, it could have helped after your surgery, but I opted out of that. So I feel like it could continue to progress. And I know what works for me now. Like, I know if I exercise or I cut out refined sugars, like, these things do help. But I am just a human being who wants to live life. And sometimes I do want to go out and have a drink with my friends. Sometimes I do want to eat that red meat.
Part of life.
It is. So I'm just trying to find the blend.
Do you feel like you're finding that balance with endometriosis now?
I think the biggest step for me was actually just taking ownership of it. So now I'm there, it's like, yeah, I feel a bit more confident in my decisions now, and I'm being more intentional. Like, you see me on the show talk about how I want a family. Like, that is one of the main things that I want. And if I want that, then there's certain things that I know I have to go away and work on. So I think that now I'm being intentional with how I'm going to live my life, like my lifestyle. Yeah.
Dr. Nisi, there are moments where obviously Demi wasn't diagnosed correctly, almost to the point of, as you just said, in your head you think you're making it up. You're going crazy. What do women need to do? Because there are going to be people who are watching right now at home that are going, oh, I've got something that's a bit like that, or I feel a bit like that. What do women need to do?
So it's not just women, it's also society, schools, public policy, health professionals. Everybody needs to take ownership. It's not just women. What's important for women who are listening and people who are close to women are listening is that periods should not be painful. Any periods that affects the quality of your life, whether it is going to school, whether it's going to work, whether you're ending up spending a day or days in bed. So painful periods not to be put up with. That may be because of fibroids, adenomyosis, which is another close cousin of endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, endometriosis. All these are conditions that affect women. So painful periods, heavy periods, any period that lasts for more than 7 days, any period that you end up having to use double protection, where you're passing clots larger than the size of your thumbnail, those things are not normal. We should not normalize periods as in this. It's fine, my mother had it, my grandmother had it, so I have to suck it up. No. Painful periods, heavy periods, painful intercourse, not to be accepted. You know, backache that she was mentioning, is often as doctors, we don't join the dots. And so we do have to realize that endometriosis is a whole body condition. It's a chronic condition that causes endometriosis belly, it causes bloating, it causes chronic fatigue, it causes bladder symptoms, bowel symptoms that people think is irritable bowel syndrome, when actually it's not. So it's really important that not just women, but all of us raise awareness, because even as doctors, we don't always listen to our patients.
Well, as Dr. Sarah said, we only have 10 minutes. It's finding that balance.
And so we have to take ownership a little bit, but also the rest of
We have got some questions we want to go through. I just want to, quickly, before we get to these, if you do get a diagnosis, are there things that can be done? What sort of treatments can you get which will alleviate the symptoms and help?
So it really depends. It's very individualized, and it depends upon your clinical symptoms, but it could be treatment for your periods, so it could be painful periods if you're having, so it may be certain medications that you take just during your periods. It might be certain forms of hormonal medication that you need to help you while, if you're not trying to get pregnant, so you would take that all through the month. Pelvic floor physiotherapy, things like acupuncture, and then surgery by specialists. For example, I would operate on some people who need surgery, sadly, the way to diagnose endometriosis thus far has been only with a keyhole surgery. And so you should have it only with a specialist who knows how to manage endometriosis. And so that is somewhere we don't have enough of those doctors. And that's important.
But there are options.
But there's a blood test coming up, hopefully not too far off in the distance, where we can actually pick up endometriosis through a blood test. Still not there yet.
OK, well, we've got lots of questions from our viewers, and I know
wonderfully. You've said you'll stay and
I will stay and answer.
She's going to go down to the office and she's truly wonderful. So this one is from Emily. She says, I'm worried about my fertility. I was recently diagnosed with endometriosis at the age of 25. I'm awaiting a laparoscopy,
which is the keyhole procedure.
But I am concerned about potential implications it could have on fertility later down the line, as I really want children one day. What's your advice?
Yes. She has a very valid concern. Because women with endometriosis may find it slightly harder to conceive. But I also, in the same breath, want to say most women will go on to conceive either naturally or with some help of fertility treatment. So I don't want anybody listening to this thinking there's no hope at all. And that can come in many different forms. And that's a discussion to be had sooner rather than later for anybody who thinks, I want to have children. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe in 5 years. Whatever it is, there is hope. Yes, fertility can be affected, but there is plenty that we can do, you know, as soon as we find out.
And that's where you are, Demi, isn't it? You want to be able to have a family at some point as well, so you need to sort of navigate that.
Yeah, so that I've honestly felt that question come through. I was like, that's the question I want to answer. So,
OK, good. This is from Charlotte. What should I expect from a hysterectomy? I'm 28. I've struggled with endometriosis for years. I've exhausted all treatment options. I'm having my hysterectomy on Thursday. My specialist said that it's likely that my bowel and uterus are stuck together and they may be limited on what endometrious cells can be removed. I can't help pinning all my hopes on this operation. What should I expect from the surgery?
So anybody who's having those questions can go onto my website, which is easy to find. It's all free.
What's your website?
neetubajekal.com, just my name with a .com.
You'll get it through the app.
Yes. But what is important to understand, she is very young. It's not often at 28 that we do a hysterectomy. Removal of the uterus is not really the culprit of endometriosis. So I would have questions, and it's difficult to have this discussion here, but it could be adenomyosis, which affects the womb itself. Has she completed her family? Has she frozen her eggs? Has she frozen embryos? All these questions have to be asked and made sure that it's you know, because it is an irreversible procedure. So, and yes, most women will sail through it, but there can be complications, especially when you have a condition like endometriosis, if the bowel is stuck, if the bladder is stuck. So a whole team is needed to operate in this situation. It takes a good 2 months at least to recover. So work has to be very empathetic as well. It's important that we don't just rush back to work when our body's not ready.
Do your preparation.
I have all that information on my website.
Great.
OK, good luck with that, Charlotte.
This one is from Kerry. She says, about 2 days before my period, I get really bad pain in my right shoulder. The pain stays during my period and then it stops hurting about a day after I finish my period. I've been to the doctors twice about it, but they just shrugged it off as a pulled muscle. However, this happens during every period, so I feel like they must be connected.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes. And so endometriosis, we haven't defined what endometriosis is. Endometriosis is where cells, abnormal cells that are very similar to the lining of the womb that we shed every month as a period, it decides to stick itself usually within the pelvis, on the lining of the pelvis, in your ovaries, at the back of the uterus, on the bladder, on the bowel. But sometimes, and that's why we don't know exactly what causes it, sometimes it can go in your nose, in your lungs, in your diaphragm, in your brain. And so distant endometriosis is a known factor that should be taken very seriously.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's known as, yes, it's really important that that is paid attention to because, you know, somebody who's giving you a history like that should not be ignored at all. It may not turn out to be that, but it is...
Needs checking.
Absolutely.
Get that checked, Kerry. Then Penny, she's, are my spotting along periods down to endo or perimenopause? I've had problems with my period since a very early age. Got diagnosed with endometriosis in the last couple of years. I'm 41 years old. My periods in the past 5 months have either been longer than usual or I've been spotting in between. I feel really confused because I want another baby, but I don't want sex. So I'm just wondering if this is down to endometriosis or something else, maybe perimenopause.
I would not immediately jump to perimenopause if I was a betting doctor, which I'm not. I would say I would be concerned that she may have adenomyosis, which is the cousin of endometriosis, pushing itself into the lining of the muscle wall. That can cause spotting. Is she up to date with her smear test? Because that's really important. Is there bleeding after intercourse? Is it endometriosis? Are there fibroids? There's so many things. She needs a good review by a specialist, ask her GP to refer to the NHS hospital, and from there onwards, maybe even to somebody who specialises in this thing. So not to be ignored. Any spotting, any bleeding, not to be ignored, whatever your age.
Okay. Try and get that referral. So, Demi, just coming back to you, you didn't find love necessarily on Love is Blind. How is life anyway, though? Are you are you out there fishing again?
Trying. Just about to. Yeah, no, I'm going to get myself back out there.
Good.
But yeah, it's been good.
Well, look, thank you for coming in
Yes,
and
thank you
sharing
very
your
much.
story.
Thank
As
you.
know, like you say, just taking ownership
Brilliant.
of it.
Yeah.
You can see the change in
Thank
you
you.
already. You know, just sort of meeting you today. It's been brilliant to meet you.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
Thank you.
And Dr. Neetu, we didn't have enough time to get through everything
Not a
here,
problem.
but she's so wonderful. She's staying.
Amazing.
She's going to set up her office downstairs, give her a cup of coffee. She'll be here all afternoon.
No coffee, I'll be up all night.
OK, fine. No coffee, no coffee.
Whatever you like. She's going to be answering some of your phone calls a little bit later on, and we'll get through all of those. So fingers crossed. We can.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the love people have for each other. Dermot, I promise to always cherish you, always love you, and always adore you and tolerate all your naughty things that you do in life.
Alison, I promise to honour you, to understand you, to always be true.
Well, actually, it's
Someone
not about...
order me a cold shower right now.
It's not about how much we love each other.
Mama!
As it's Valentine's Day, all morning, 14 amazing couples have been getting ready to renew their vows live on the show.
Let's not the Too much. That's not the way any longer.
I think I stalled it.
Because please be upstanding for our deserving brides and grooms with...
Reverend Kate Botley is leading...
We've come here today to give thanks for the marriages of these wonderful couples, to rejoice together and to ask for a continued blessing. Marriage is a gift and a means of grace. It's given that each may comfort and help the other, living faithfully together in times of need as well as times of plenty, in joy and sadness, sickness and health. And marriage is given that you may know each other in love. Marriage strengthens and enriches our society. And in marriage, a couple belong together and to each other. They live in their community and they're surrounded and supported by their friends and family. And you are supported by us here today. And so, I now invite you to renew those vows that you made on your wedding days. So facing each other and taking each other's hands, I invite you to repeat after me. I, your name,
I, David,
took you, name,
baby,
to be my husband or wife,
to be my husband,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold,
from that day forward,
from that day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
to love and to cherish,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
I now invite you, if you have a wedding band, to put your hand on your partner's wedding band that you exchanged on that special day. I gave you this ring
I give you this ring
as a sign of our marriage.
as a sign of our marriage.
With my body, I honour you.
With my body, I honour you.
All that I am, I give to you.
All that I am, I give to you.
And all that I have, I share with you.
And all that I have, I share with you.
So if you'd like to face this way. So may you all be made strong in faith and love. May you be protected and defended on every side. And may you be guided in truth and peace. And may I be the first to say, congratulations, you may kiss your bride.
Yeah. I actually didn't think it was going to be as emotional as it was. How was it for you, Leah?
Lovely. 18 years in, still going strong.
Oh, and when you all looked into each other's eyes, did that feel... Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
You obviously become Britney, don't you?
Well, I think there's an element on stage where I obviously have to impersonate her fully. So her mannerisms, her characteristics, the costumes, the dancing, the singing as well. So I kind of see things through the eyes of her, I guess you could say, but I don't ever feel like I am Britney. And that's the difference, is it's really a tribute to Britney and portraying her at her best, you know, her prime.
And it is so uncanny looking at you because your facial features are so like her. Have you had any surgery, Derek, to look like this?
No, I've had nothing done, and I guess I could just thank my parents for really good genes, and that's it. So no surgeries yet.
The costumes are very skimpy, so at the risk of sounding crude, like what do you do with your boy bits and things when you have to...
That's very
well, it's
crude.
not, I'm just...
Very crude.
People will be thinking it, won't they? They will.
They will. They will. Everything gets tucked away, and it's made to look perfect. So I don't want to give too much away. It's like a magician. You know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors happening here.
Let's just establish your relationship. You've been together for absolutely ages.
Yeah, 10 years in March.
Yeah.
So, yeah, married for a year.
Yeah, and you always, you especially,
Yeah.
always wanted children.
Since 2009, I think I wanted a baby. I've even got letters addressed to Isabel from 2009. So we've had the name picked out for that long.
Oh.
So it's not like, Ross, you got into the situation, you were thinking, I'm not really sure whether I want to be a dad.
No, this is everything I've ever wanted, really. So, obviously, as you can imagine, when it happened, it did take me by surprise.
And how did you've suffered from depression in the past?
Yeah, I've had about 7 years on and off with depression. And when Rachel got pregnant, it kind of cleared. For the 9 months that you were pregnant, I had a couple of bad days, but that was it. Because I was there looking forward to having a baby.
Were you on medication during that time?
I was for a little bit.
On your medication?
Before you got pregnant, I was on medication, and a couple of months into your pregnancy, I thought, I feel fine now. I took myself off.
Okay.
Which I know you're not supposed to do, but it's something I felt like I could do. And I was fine after taking myself off. I did manage.
And you felt like Isabel coming along was going to be everything that you possibly wanted?
I pinned a lot of my depression on. I thought, right, as soon as I have the baby now, it's going to be gone.
Yeah. So when she did come along, how did you feel?
I didn't feel anything to start off with, but I put it down to the birth and all the stress for that.
When you say you didn't feel anything, you felt kind of neutral, neither particularly deliriously happy or...
No, I just had her, and it was just... You wait for that rush, then when they grab the finger, which she did do, I was expecting this rush of emotion, because you see it all over the media and films and everything, and that fatherly feeling, and it just didn't come. It started off with just numb feelings, I just didn't have anything, and then they kind of spiralled a bit. It started to turn into a bit of dislike, and eventually towards hatred to her. I didn't want to be there at all, but I knew I had to keep going. I thought, I've got two options, run away or keep going.
But that was something you considered, though?
A little bit, yeah. I remember I wrote you a letter, didn't I, for our anniversary.
So romantic.
Really romantic.
It sounds like you like writing letters.
Terrible husband, terrible father, you'd be better off without me. What you want on your first anniversary, really.
Yeah.
I remember reading it thinking, I don't really relate to that. I feel like I'm a different person to that, to the person who wrote that letter. But that was about 12 weeks or so after we had her.
And how was this for you then, Rachel? Because you're going through this extraordinary experience, and she is clearly a delightful little thing. But she's 6 months now, and they move on. They dramatically move on after about, I found, 3 months.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, I felt quite neutral initially when the baby first comes along, because you're facilitating and caring for mum and not getting very much. How was it, though, when you knew how raw his emotion was?
Heartbreaking. It was a mixture. It was frustrating because it was like, that's what you've always wanted. How can you not like something you've always wanted? You wanted this more than me, really, to a certain extent. And then it's not there. So it was frustrating, but it was just upsetting because they're the two most important people to you, and they don't get on.
And how did you... So it's brilliant that you've got a great relationship, so you talked, you were very open about how you felt. What help did you seek?
I did go to the doctor, and I said to him, my depression's back, we've just had the baby, she said it's probably postnatal depression brought on from the birth of your daughter. So they did put me on meds to start off with.
Did it seem surreal, though, Ross, when they said, I think you might have a bit of postnatal depression?
Yeah, it was just like, to me, I just knew it was depression. I didn't worry about the label of it. I thought depression's depression, whether it's got a postnatal tag or...
Once you'd had this diagnosis...
Yeah.
How did that allow you to start putting the building blocks into place to sort of building up your person?
I knew I'd try and get it fixed, and I thought if it's to do with a bond, all I can do is just absorb myself in her as much as I can. Do as many things as I can with her. We were doing the baby wearing, so I had doing the carrier. So it's something that she looked forward to as well, and not just having you. She had something to look forward to with me, because there weren't a lot that she liked to do with me, really, especially with breastfeeding.
But there was something, there was a song, and there was a particular moment, wasn't there?
What was that moment when you really felt like, hold on, something, you were stirring the emotion towards her?
Oh, when I sung her to sleep the one night when we were away, and it was the first time I proper felt like the dad.
So explain what happened then, because that...
Oh, she had a terrible night when she was on and off. I think it's when she first started teething, and we didn't know really what was going on. But she was on and off feeding, and I picked her up and was singing her to sleep. Like, I ain't gonna do now. And she just started to fall asleep on me, and it was the first time she'd really connected with me in that way.
She's biting down on my finger there clean.
She will, yeah. She'll give it a good go.
But that was the moment when suddenly you thought, you know, I have got something to offer here, something genuine
it's like,
she's responded to.
Yeah, it was the first time I'm like, well, I'm giving her something, and she's responding back to me. And she does need me as well as Rachel.
Absolutely, and that was the big turning point. And brilliantly, you started writing a blog, which is called Is a Blog, because she's Isabel.
It's my little way of trying to be funny, but...
No, it's good. It's a really good idea. And you've had amazing feedback, and actually... I mean, if you look at the stats, it's actually quite a common thing, and you're not alone in any way.
That's why I almost feel weird being on you, because there's so many other guys going through it. It's awkward being on you to talk about it when it's like there's so many other guys going through this, and I'm here
being brave enough to come and be honest.
Yeah.
It's not sort of the default settings.
No, I never expected to end up on you with it.
It's brilliant that you're on here talking about it, because men really struggle to admit, first of all, that there's a problem, and then to come and see the doctor. There's so many women come and see me who say, my husband's struggling, but he won't come. So talking about it
that
is
first
a great
step
thing.
is solid, but because I did it before the depression, and I've always had the open relationship with Rachel, it wasn't as big of a thing for me as it might be for other people. Because I've already been there, and that first step, once you've done it once, you can go back again.
You were born with this, weren't you? This was called bladder exstrophy?
Bladder exstrophy is correct, or epispade, as it's known as. It's where your bladder's on the outside of your body, basically.
OK, so...
And how does that affect your body?
It affects it by... things don't fuse in the middle, so you have a lot of operations, and basically you're born... There's different variations of it, so you have a born with bits of penis or none, and I had the worst variation, and it was none.
So you had testicles?
Yeah.
Right.
So as a child, I imagine when you're a young child, it's something that you don't overly notice too much. It doesn't seem to bother you. But when you came into teenage years, that's when this really became an issue for you.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you as a kid. It's just the operations that affect you. But when you hit about 13, 14, you know you're in for trouble. You know something really bad's coming.
Yeah.
And when you were here in 2013, one of the things you were talking about was the fact that to compensate for that, you had slept with 100 women. And that, it becomes clearer, was because you appeared to be just desperately trying to find a companion.
Oh, 100%. People thought it was a boast, and it wasn't. It was... You couldn't settle down with one woman, so you'd end up moving woman to woman to woman.
Because I assume when you told them, it just didn't last very long.
Oh, you didn't... You realised you couldn't tell them. You realised I'm not going to tell them, because you're going to tell everyone. So you had to kind of make a decision. It was like 20% I told. The rest I thought, it's not going to work out. So it wasn't a boast, it was just... I had no other option.
Well, you met Fabian around about the time that you came on in 2013. Yeah. Fedra. When did you tell her?
Well, I was kind of... It came out in the newspaper, and I thought, oh, they told me what day it was coming out, and I had to tell. I told her the night before the newspaper. And the funny thing was, I even tried to get out of it. I told her, when she was reading the newspaper the next day, I even said to her, don't believe everything you read in the newspapers.
But that's extraordinary. So Fedra, you were together for 9 months, I would say, until you found out. So, I mean, that's quite a big thing to suddenly discover, especially when you're reading it in a paper. So how did you feel about that?
It was a weird night, I will put it that way.
But a bit of a shock, I imagine.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I didn't really know how to react to it, where to put it. I was trying, very best to be, patient with the questions. But asked a couple of questions, and we kind of, you know, let it for settle.
Well, if anything, it's strengthened your relationship. Although there may be no sex between you, the conversation, you've had to speak, you've had to talk. I mean, at one point it nearly broke you up, but if anything, this has definitely created quite a bond between the pair of you.
Yeah. Well, we got to a point where we almost broke up. And I think that was the point when we both said it right. Let's give it a shot. But let's woman up, let's man up, and let's give our best, which we can. Yeah. Because when you can do one thing, you will find a way. So we are best friends.
Yeah, yeah.
And you say that the sex is not something that is necessarily forefront in your mind.
Of course not. People think that's the main thing, and it's not, because first I want to be well, because you go in hospital with infections, people don't see that side.
Years of kidney infections.
Oh, complete years, like 100 operations, more. And people just think it's about sex, and it's not. I'll look at that when I get better. Yeah. And then I can move the relationship forward, but it's not about sex to me at all.
So the question is obviously that you've got to be asked, what have you got? What have they given you?
They've built completely what any man's got now. You know, they've done an amazing job, and you have to see what these people can do, these surgeons, the NHS, amazing. I've got what anyone's got now. It just needs turning on. I have one more operation, and they're just going to basically turn it on.
So the skin comes from your arm?
Do you want to see the arm?
Yeah.
OK, it actually comes from there.
Wow! Oh, my gosh. So they literally... And that forms the skin on the outside of your penis?
Yeah, yeah. Well, basically, I can cover that up with a tattoo, so I'm looking for a tattoo artist now. Yeah. So you won't actually see that when I get it covered up.
So once again, I ask this on behalf of gentlemen everywhere, and that's some ladies, I'm sure, as well, but you look at that and you can sort of see the size of what... Were you not tempted at any stage to say, right, OK, well, actually take the skin up to there?
I don't. A lot of people say that. I don't think they do sizes. They just do it off your arm and muscle. They get what you're given, so...
And so when you say it's switched on, what is that process?
Well, the process, it's one more operation. It's basically they put the mechanics in, and they have to basically just turn it on, and it's a three-day stint in hospital.
So does that mean that when the decision is made that tonight's the night type of thing, that you press a button and it happens?
It's kind of like that. I can't make excuses, you know. It's just I could do it when I'm asleep, couldn't I?
No excuses. No getting off.
You could just switch it on.
I go to sleep.
But with that comes the added initial problem of the fact that to test that it works, you have to have a 2-week erection.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to that, definitely. And I've got to get the train home from London that day, so I've got to have an erection for 2 weeks.
And where are you going to go for that amount of time?
Home.
Just stay in.
100%, yeah, I'm not walking about.
Once it is sort of up and running, can you have a family?
I haven't looked into that yet. If I can, I can. If I can't, we'll just adopt. So it's not really... We've agreed on it, haven't we? That's not really the issue. So I'm really happy where it's going.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the reason you're doing this is because you want to say, you know, if there is, and this is, you know, it's not common, but there will be people who have this, that there is now a way forward. Yeah,
some people can be sat at home. I understand it's... Not everyone's going to have this, but, I mean, really rare conditions. Just get up, go and see your GP, go and do something about it. I was in a really dark place. I got up, I did something about it. There is help out there. Do not sit at home thinking nothing's going to change, because I am just proof everything can change.
Yeah. If you enjoyed that, there's more of the same right here. And make sure you subscribe so that you never miss the best moments from this morning.